That fits so well.
Okay,
It
so
really does.
how do you guys want to do this? Do you want to
I
go
stab
through?
him in the face.
You want to go through the episodes together, say what happens, or just kind of flow
Just
what
like
happens?
key points, like stuff that
Yeah.
stands
Alright.
out.
All right, so we started off, and
Honk and Zuskell.
yes,
yeah.
they met in Fisk.
That was beating up some people as the skull was watching. And Honk, I remember, just like dragged her through the city for some reason because we saw the airship. But he was just like, "Hey, you come with me."
For the benefit of this recording, this is recap for Fragments up through episode now 34. So if you are not caught up and don't want spoilers, maybe check out all that. But if you don't care about spoilers and want to catch up quickly, here you go. Anyway.
Yeah, the very
keep going.
first session with Honk and Zuskell was actually very manipulative of Honk because she was still very much under Teacher's thrall.
You guys have come so far.
Yeah. When she first saw Honk, she was basically like, "Oh, he's strong," and yeah. So then I remember Honk wanted to go through the canyon there, but the canyon is actually Zuskell's home from the Underdark.
Oh.
So that's where her home village is, and she did not want to go there, so she came up with some bullshit about going around it instead.
I did not know that.
We went through the river. I remember that because the skull couldn't swim.
Yep, you had to ford the river.
Wait, did the skull lie about not being able to swim?
No, she could not swim.
No, she could not swim. Teacher never taught her.
That would have been like a big
The funniest thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was
Honk
a high
just
school
along for the ride with it all. Honk was just looking for a friend. The skull was nice to him, so he was like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah.
Drag her through
And
the
I
city
remember...
while we run from an airship that is hunting me down, probably. Yeah, we'll go.
Yep. And I remember Honk at one point wanting to go back to Fisk to try and look for Naudri, but Zuskell was like, "No, we need to go," because she was needing to go grab stuff for Teacher. Very manipulative.
Right,
Yeah.
that's right. That was Zuskell was set on the rights of Ava the Esteemed, which was, although she didn't know it yet, the first item with a shard of creation, as it's what it's made out of. So anyway, while that was happening, so they traveled south, looking for Naudri along the way, and the rights of Ava the Esteemed. They got a lead to go to Draman, I think for the rights of Ava the Esteemed, because someone said, "Look for the Veiled Woman," who turned out to be Nyara.
Right.
In Goldenberg. And meanwhile, Jazzleraz met with Kit. He just came over. I should move over to the map for the benefit of this. So, yeah, Jazzleraz came over from, Eldon's Point to Dare sailed all the way around here to Dare.
Yeah, he's originally from
Latriel around here.
He's from like around the lake.
Like around here, yeah. And
he's around the lake.
Yeah, and Kit was fleeing Dare at the time to go back to Draman, or not necessarily to go back to Draman, but just pulled in that direction.
She didn't want to go to Draman.
That's
she
right.
was like running from Draman.
Oh, she was running from Draman. I'm sorry.
I had to convince her to go back.
That's right. And because you met Bilaxia, who was the bronze dragonborn woman.
Yeah. Who was actually her husband was the priest of Glimmer, and their daughter was actually Glimmer herself.
Remind me of that after we get through the recap, because I want to talk about that family, because I had some plans that I can finally tell you guys about. So that's exciting. But anyway, you guys met up in Draman, and there you met Rinkari, who was also
in
there.
In Rusty Rick's Tavern.
In Rusty Rick's Tavern, yeah. Are you looking through your notes?
Yeah, I have Jazzleraz's notes up right now.
Nice.
It's a blast to the past.
Beautiful. So you talked to Nyara, the Veiled Woman, and there was basically a rescue mission going into the Somna Bog to rescue some people who'd been taken by spirits, ghosts, whatever, of the bog. Actually, but you found out they were kobolds, right? They were different colors of kobolds that were painted bronze.
Yeah, they were painted bronze, which is the color of Ogiathrax.
No, that's the color of Glimmer.
Yeah, Glimmer. And they were the same color as Jalzaraz's tribe, which was concerning.
Most vivid memory I have of that is Honk trying to get everybody to rest, and Jalzaraz was like, "No, we're just gonna go for it."
And if we had rested there,
you would have had a dragon on your hands.
Very bad.
Yeah, we would have had to fight a dragon.
So yeah, you guys went through the tomb of Mistra. My nose is so itchy. Fought some cultists and a dragon wormling. Freed some people, killed some people because yeah,
we killed Julian.
Yeah, who was one of your companion's brothers because Nyara wanted you to. Also, I will say this while we're talking about it. I guess we can just talk about it as let's do recap first and then I'll talk about stuff. But anyway, then you came back, got paid, and left Drummond because you found a flyer for the festival.
Yes.
The Festival of Brilliant Dawn, which would be held in White Anvil, and you could see 2 Vespin Arcana members, so a couple of you were drawn there because of that. And Honk was looking for Nadri. Jalzaraz was looking for to spread the word of Glimmer. Zuskell was along for the ride.
Rankari was also looking into some stuff about the quarry. A very specific quarry that we never talked about again.
Yeah, he was looking into Kari to see more about Kari.
A very specific...
Oh, by Adrian.
By Adrian.
Yeah, so you guys traveled through Goldenberg, Pike, Ironhold you met, Vendergar's brother.
Goldenberg, they executed that half-orc.
Right?
That's true. I think it was a full orc, right?
Or an orc, yeah.
I think it was an orc, yeah.
Yeah. In Ironhold, also you met the Thorns of a Rose. You met Rose and his lackeys. Because the roses... Honk had gotten random surprise roses along the journey.
Was leaving.
Right.
Also, we still have the Draconic Siphon. We don't know which dragon's blood is in it.
I know, I almost just told you, and
anything about that, yeah. It could be,
Where is the Draconic Siphon? I think Kit has it?
Kit has it.
It has it.
It could be Glimmer herself. And the cultists, the kobolds posed as her followers in order to get close to her. I don't know. That's a theory.
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
a Glimmer theory.
Nice. Yeah, so you helped out Rose real quick, and then you went to White Anvil the next day with Vendergar's family to attend the Festival of Brilliant Dawn. While you were there, you met Professor Byrith O'Beer. You did his little dungeon that he brought to the festival, and also you witnessed the king, Sparky. It's actually Kingless and Amberholtz. Give a speech, and in the middle of that, a consortium airship attacked, trying to assassinate the king. Lady Risa of the Starry Night defended the king, but everything was cast into disarray, and you guys teleported back to Ironhold. From there, I don't know. You were set on
session was that?
Oh, you were told to go to the Fencian Isles, but why were you told to go to the to find Nadri? Because
to kill Nadri.
That's right, because Rose told you that Nadri was in the Isles.
Didn't know at the time it was Nadri. We knew it as
the Sparrow. Somebody
known as the Sparrow who
had the shroud.
Right.
The Afterstride Shroud, that's right. He had which also after Zuskell got the Rites of Ava the Esteemed, which is the spellbook of an ancient wizard and priest of Mistra. Teacher asked her to get the Afterstride Shroud, which was a cloak that could defend from unseen eyes. So anyway, yes, this was a way to get the shroud and to find the shroud mostly. But then as you progressed westward, you went through Pike, then Bratton, where you partied hardy, got to Oxton.
Chimera.
Yeah, killed the Chimera. Defended the town, and in Oxton you chilled with Obeer for a little bit. He told Kit about Sorcium to go get it in the Isles, and that there was a big relief effort because you'd heard throughout the course of the campaign thus far about the blockade that had been started and how trade was really tough. So this relief effort was going to go into the Isles to fix it. And you guys stole away, basically. I mean, you bought passage on
we bullied some dude into letting us get on.
Pretty much, yeah.
This was also the time that I realized that I was mad at Glimmer for no reason.
That's true. There were like 4 sessions in there where you were just pissed off, and we resolved it.
Because that was when Exalia was revealed to be Glimmer, who had like no power.
That's
and
right.
I was like, Jalzaras would be like, why am I following a god with no power?
Yeah, that's true.
And
that was.
That
No, go for it.
Glimmer was actually the Metallic Sovereigness's daughter, and not the Metallic Sovereigness herself, who was killed by Ogiathrax.
Mm-hmm.
And Glimmer herself was just wounded.
Yeah. And, there was that big reveal that Exalia was a manifestation of Glimmer. And as she like used her last power to observe and make sure Jalzaras was her right champion, and she disappeared knowing that she chose wisely. Anyway, so they traveled through the sea, fought an aboleth and some elementals.
That's when Kit got cursed.
Kit got cursed. Rinkari died
Rinkari died
against some ghosts. That's right, ghost ship. Kit got cursed by the aboleth, and then they broke the blockade, or they ran the blockade, didn't break it. Got to Valenia, which is the main.
Valenia.
Thank you. Made it to Bisterbrock, the city in Valenia in the Fentian Isles, the capital, and hung out there. Then what happened? You guys, let's see.
Well, we got to Bisterbrock and met with the.
We met with the Chancellor.
The Chancellor. We also met Spruce Leaf. Spruce Leaf teleported onto our ship.
Oh, Spruce Leaf did teleport. That's true. And
we did fighting pit. I think just because
episode 14, you did a fighting pit, and that's where you met Urian.
And that's how we met Urian, and he told us about a job he would have for us.
He ran the fighting pit.
Right,
which is really weird in retrospect.
Right. He's a investor, you know.
We
gotta diversify, man.
We had ourselves painted on a poster, right?
Oh yeah,
that's true.
We were on the wall of the pit. Yeah. We had heard
that was episode
from
14.
The Chancellor. There's a woman in the wood that could potentially cure Kit.
Yeah.
Set us on that path to go into the woods,
which talk to.
Into the Marigor Wood to talk to Priska. Or not the Marigor Wood, fuck. I just read what was on
Bragantarth.
Bragantarth, yeah.
Yeah. And we also, that was around the time that we formed the Assassin Brigade Company of Death.
Yes.
Yeah, that was like chapter 14.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that's
we needed
right,
one for the fighting pit.
Yeah.
Because fighting pit was super cool. How we just were like, yeah, we'll fight to the death, and then we almost died.
And we
that was a cool fight though. That was an awesome. I forgot about that one.
Brutalized them, literally dismembered them, and the audience was like.
They were
not expecting us to just brutally dismember them.
I remember we killed one of them instantly, round one. We took one of them out
the samurai. I think you killed the samurai really quickly.
It helped drastically.
Mm-hmm.
Just kill. It was a cool fight.
Yeah, you you heard about, you were asking a lot about the Sparrow in that time, and you heard about a Tabaxi wearing a cloak of leaves at that point. That was the first time you heard about Softpaws on Snow. Also,
who was the Order of the Blue Dragon representative.
Correct, which you didn't know at the time, but yeah. And there was also a moment where it didn't register with you guys at the time, which is fine. It was just meant to be a little thing, and then Zuskell, I was like, Zuskell, there's like a 50-50 if Zuskell would go invisible and check it out or not. But it was just a little hint that more was going on. But as you were leaving the Chancellor's the Crimson Crown, an Eladrin man walked in and was talking to him about shit's going on. It's not just about you. You gotta help us out in the blockade and stuff, which turned out to be the Prince of Shalasar.
Yes, and that we killed.
Spoiler alert! Yeah. Indirectly, absolutely murdered.
Directly, we didn't kill him. We just allowed for him
Paved
to
the
be
way.
killed.
Yeah, so anyway.
We set up the circumstances for him to die.
Yes. So, the next episode, chapter 15, you guys went into the Brigantarth in an attempt to find Priska. We still had Jazzaraz, we still had Spruce Leaf. In this episode, this was mostly travel, and you fought a couple times in the forest.
When we learned that there are like spirits wandering the forest, and that there's like bad stuff in there.
Yes. And you also found the Leshen and stuff. You saw the totems of the Leshen, right?
Yes.
And that was when you broke it, and then wolves started attacking. It was three fights in there.
There was a spirit going between the trees. Yeah.
It was the dumbest thing. We've done a lot of dumb stuff, but that was by far the dumbest.
Well, it
thing
was a circle of bones.
Yeah.
A circle of bones, and Jazzaraz was like, "Hey, Honk, throw me through that like
you
a
think you
fast."
can throw me through that? And of course, yeah, sure.
So.
And that,
Immediately.
Oh man.
Oh.
so that caused Jazzaraz to die.
Yep.
Yeah, in the
Jazzaraz
next
die,
episode,
and-
the big fight against there was the big wolf who was
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the big wolf.
Astrogar.
Astrogar, yeah. And the Leshen were both the Forest Spirit were both fighting you with a bunch of wolves. That was a cool fight. Jazzaraz did die and Zuskell died,
Yes.
but we did a roll. I had Tara do a roll, and she also decided that she wanted to come back. I gave her the opportunity to come back because of her situation with Caldrath, and basically
when
now
a sealed horror dies, whatever is sealed in them is released.
yes, but since this is the Lich is like in the phylactery and not in her, they form this sort of symbiotic relationship where they are both kind of their souls are both entwined in this wand, the phylactery of her wand.
Because I liked the way you flavored it was like when she died, she saw his hand, his still at the time skeletal hand, reach out to her, and I was so scared to do either. I didn't know if I should have refused or if I took it, and I took it, and she came back.
Honestly, the best decision of the campaign.
Yeah.
That kind of saved a lot.
Without him?
Right,
honestly. So yeah, at the end of that session, so Austin's character died. I sent a message to him. Hey, you ready with the backup? He said, sure. I said, I got a good idea. And then we took a break. I think we talked about it a little bit, but then
we took a break because it was
episode.
It was like about halfway through our session, and
that's right. Yeah, we took the break.
We need to figure this out. So you guys started talking, and
because we've been talking about it. Like
we knew what you wanted.
Stars for a while. I was like, I want to make a current boss. I want to make a blood hunter, and I want him to have a gun or a whip. Like either or.
While
and
you guys were doing
that,
we were like, okay, what are we gonna do? And we were like, let's just leave. Like, we don't need
to be here
anymore.
Yeah.
This is because we thought that you were going to go on to Priska.
And so
we're going to planning how you would meet us at Priska.
Yeah.
And then you guys come back and you're like, okay, what's going to happen? And we're like, we're going to leave. And then you're like, wait, we need to go again. Hold on.
We need 10 more minutes.
Never mind. We'll just go. We'll go.
I do remember
I think what I was going to have if you did leave was you would run into him like coming into the forest or something, because he was also looking for Priska.
He wanted to go to Priska,
yeah.
At that
I can't remember why he was going to Priska.
Because he wanted to figure out who betrayed him.
blew up his ship, that's right.
Yeah.
And
he
so
thought that Priska could tell him.
Go to Priska.
So Sea of Stars was waiting there.
Which is super cool. That whole scene lives in my mind forever.
Rent free,
The image of Sea of Stars being introduced to us
Smoking
was
there,
iconic. It's so good.
I'm trying to make him. I tried and still am trying to make him just the biggest sleazeball ever.
I love it.
He's
great.
He's shadiest guy.
He's so good.
Oh wow, my note for chapter 16, which was 18 episodes ago, December 24th, 2020. The true heir to Kron Village has returned. So that's how long I've been waiting for that, Ronan.
Oh no, I don't like that. Oh, that's concerning. Okay.
Anyway, but we already talked about the implications of that. That's why I'm telling you that. But anyway,
I know, but I don't like it though.
We'll go.
That later.
Let's finish going through the recap, and then we'll go through my notes and see if I have anything.
We met Priska and Sea
Yeah.
Stars.
Yeah, Priska gave you the fortune telling.
She gave us a couple of options.
Two options.
Either get the Chalice of Valkyr at the Emerice Summit and drink the water out of it at the Equinox.
Yep,
very specific.
A lot of steps. A lot of steps.
Just go talk to the Sea Sisters at Bearskull Break.
So they did the easy
we'll
one.
Do that one.
You know which one we decided.
So they went to go see the Sea Sisters. They had a funeral for Jazzerez first, and that was the funniest.
Blown up by the blockade.
I think that moment is my favorite improv I've ever done in my life. When Jazzerez gets blown up.
For him.
That was so good. And you lit the docks on fire
in the same way he came in, kicking and screaming.
Arson.
Because wasn't it like Zuskell did like the fire arrow and she fucked up and like misaimed or something?
And the
that's
dock
right.
set
Yeah.
on fire.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
And then the ships blew
I think a
it up
ship.
because
Yeah.
And then the ships doing the blockade blew up his corpse, and then Zuskell's fire arrow lit a ship on fire in the docks.
So we're just like, we need to leave. So we just moved on from that.
Yeah, and in that same session, you guys went to investigate the Order of the Blue Dragon people. You went to investigate Soft Paws on Snow. And Nigel Grimhollow. Yeah, you went to the. Oh, that's right. That was the Wayward Soul.
Murdered Joey's uncle.
Yeah. Honk murdered Joey's uncle and a bunch of.
Why did I do that?
I still don't know why you did that.
Well, I need to find my notes.
I can't remember. I think he was gonna like call the cops on you, and you just killed him, and you like ran out.
Okay, hold on. I think we skipped something here.
Well, because we also went and met Eamon and got the job to go stop Gus.
That's right. That's right.
We did a lot of stuff before we left to go to the sisters. We had Priska try to scry on the Sparrow.
Yeah, my notes are in order.
But she couldn't.
And then we
do
found
it.
out that the Sparrow had the
after shroud.
That he had the shroud, and so I was like, wanted Priska to scry on Nadri and the Sparrow.
That's right. Yeah.
I was already suspecting by that point. I was suspecting way before this that Nadri was the Sparrow. So I'm like, I want her to scry on them. And she's like, I can only do one. And then my idiot self was like, okay, do the Sparrow. So at least we have like information for everybody.
Yeah.
And it was like, I can't do it.
Knew that we
we knew we couldn't do it. So I was like, oh, that was a waste of a. And she's like, I can't do it again. Sorry. And so we had to leave. Did a lot of talking. We had Sea of Stars went to his boss dude to talk to him about
Fixer,
jobs and stuff.
Eamon,
And then we had to go back to him.
Celine and things like that. Heard that Celine was in Gornai.
We had to go back to him to get to have him pay the guards off after you murdered the innkeeper. We had to get him. We were like, hey, can you get them off our tail?
Why did I kill?
I don't know. Listen back. That's episode 17. If you wanna see the meeting at the Wayward Soul, that's episode 17. After that, you guys departed.
That's when the dude with the spyglass or the hourglass of scythe thing exploded.
That's right. That was also that session.
At the end of the session, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the dude in the upper reaches blew up. Yeah.
Yeah, we took care of that and then hired a ship. We had Taryn and Lisbeth to take us
also,
out to
by the way.
break.
And I started getting information about the consortium that I thought I didn't know, but I had known the whole time. And so I was getting all these names of people, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. I need to figure this out. And then I was like, oh, wait, I actually knew them.
This is when we started the conspiracy document. Because we had so much going on.
Much information.
We're like, okay, we gotta put this down somewhere.
Yeah, and you guys, I think, around that time was when Honk started getting names that coincided with the gang that kicked him out and tried killing him and Nadri in the first place.
Orphans.
Yeah, that they had something to do with the consortium, which later they would come to find out that they are the main gang. They are running the consortium. Yes. Anyway, chapter 18, you guys went to the Brigand's Hearth. Or, no, not the Brigand's Hearth, Bearskull Break. Bearskull Break to go after the Crustworths, the Sea Sisters. You went down, fought some marrow, and met with these 3 Sea Hag sisters.
That fight when CM Stars had put the cannonball on his foot.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Because he was like, I'll get there super quick. And then
Yeah, my reasoning was like,
And then you started fighting, yeah.
people sink so slowly. Like, if they don't have any weight. Like, when you scuba dive, you have weights that pull you down. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll just speed
Theory
this
was
up
perfect.
and go
Then
really
we started
fast.
fighting, and CM Stars is like 100 feet below everybody because he just keeps sinking.
And
It was so
came to
funny.
a point in the fight where I literally couldn't participate in the fight because I was so far down. Even
Honk
my
was
gun
like,
couldn't reach.
yeah. Honk had to like hold you the
Was
whole
trying
time
to,
and
like,
swim.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that
hoist
was-
me up so I could shoot
Yeah.
people.
I think while we're doing the recap of the video, I'll edit in the episode numbers, but this should be
Yeah.
18 in case I
Yes.
forget to do that. So anyway, yeah. So you guys won that fight, easy peasy, and then you continued going down, found the Crustworts. They said
Yes.
that they could heal. There were only two of them. The third one had been lost basically at the
Looking
drowned
for
tomb.
beetroot.
Yeah, looking for beetroot, and they needed all three to do the ritual. So, in return for bringing their lost sister back, they would heal Kit, who this whole time has been in a bucket full of water with spider legs.
Except down here she was fine because we were
That's
in
right,
the
she could
water,
swim.
So.
Yeah, because the Aboleth
yeah.
curse means that you can't breathe air anymore.
You can. It just
You take
it hurts
damage
you
or
if you
whatever.
don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
you take
Well,
damage if
I
you
would
aren't
say that's
submerged.
pretty close to not being able to breathe.
Basically, yeah. So, yeah, you went into the
We go to that
drowned
temple.
tomb. Yeah, the drowned tomb. Saw a lot of dead bodies. There was a lot there. At one, no, that was the puzzle episode, I think.
Oh yeah, that was the puzzle.
Oh no,
with
it
the
wasn't. That was the
water.
next. That was the next episode. That was
Oh,
episode
Well, the
19.
temple in general was where we had the puzzle and stuff.
But we
and-
had like
Right.
the water that went up and down.
Yeah,
that
the
we had to
water.
control.
That
And
was
then
in
we
episode
opened the
18.
chest
Yeah.
that dispelled our water breathing that Spruce Lee would only do once per day.
That's where the bruh comes from. Can we get bruhs in chat?
I found the catfish image with just the big mouth.
That was all on Ronan.
When Spruce's water breathing is dispelled.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so perfect. And yeah,
Can we put
so
that picture up in the VOD.
Yeah, I'll put it up.
Bruh.
if I remember,
man.
yeah. And yeah, so that episode 18 ended with you guys lowering the water to explore the tomb further. So 19
Yes.
picked up right then.
Just to
Um,
pause for a second. I think
yeah,
this was
yeah.
like the second time that I was really worried that we were all gonna die. Like
Yeah.
the first time was when we were fighting all those things in the forest, and I for sure
Yeah.
thought we were gonna team.
That was
Oh,
bad.
when
PK. I was
Jazwaraz
like,
and
this is over for
When
us.
Jazwaraz
Zuskell
died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then this one is terrifying because nobody could hold. We weren't prepared to hold our breath because we
Yeah.
were water breathing. But all of us were really just relying on how good your constitution was, like not choke and die
Yeah.
instantly kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we didn't know how to fix the problem. I remember Honk was good for because I have high constitution with him, and we were just like trying to figure out what to do, and we
Yeah,
Yeah,
had
I
no
think
idea.
you and I,
We
Stars
started
and
swimming.
Honk went like branched off and just
Right.
started like
Yeah.
pressing buttons and
Yeah.
pulling gems
Yeah,
out
because
of
Honk
the
has a
them
swim
things,
speed,
yeah.
right? Honk has a swim speed,
Yeah,
right?
At
he
that
had
point
the
he did
Mariners.
because he had the right
With
he
the
had
seafarer's cloak.
The
Yeah, or
seafarer's
coat.
coat.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Jacket.
poor's the Skell who like
Can't
terrifying.
swim.
because she can't swim.
Is drowning.
and
Yeah.
like
I think we just
couldn't
left
move.
everybody behind.
Yeah.
Like, I
think we'll
couldn't-
just let you guys sit here.
At that point, we had to because we were relying on our swim speeds and nobody else
Yeah.
could keep up. So we're like, we
And
have
it
to
was
try
dark.
to figure out.
So
it was dark.
only
It was
me,
dark.
you, and Spruce Leaf could
couldn't
see.
see anything.
Zuskell couldn't see
Zuskell,
because
yeah.
she was drowning.
Well, yeah. That was
Really
so
relied
hard for
on us,
Zuskell.
like,
She's come
trying
really
to-
far.
Like she couldn't swim either. Like I could move,
Yeah.
I think like 10 feet at a time.
Yeah.
At this giant temple that we're trying to somehow explore and find the solution to whatever this is.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily we did it.
Yeah, you
We're
figured
able
it
to
out,
lower the
and
water.
then yeah, in episode 19 you had the big puzzle with the coffins. That was fun. That was,
that was cool.
Yes.
I like throwing more complex puzzles at you if you're in a dungeon, and other times I don't know. I did one
Recap
kind of
this puzzle from what I remember. We had a
Yeah,
bunch
yeah.
of coffins in like a shape or whatever. And
Yeah,
each
I
of them
actually have my
corresponded to the
note.
planes.
Oh, that's awesome.
corresponded to a certain plane of existence that we kind of
Yeah.
picked up on. and so we had to figure out how to basically like light them up, so to speak. Like each one would respond to certain things, and we had to figure out based on.
Yeah, I even wrote down
on
the
what
symbols.
the plane was. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome, Tara.
So this is when we put Spruce Leaf's lantern in the Feywild one.
Oh yeah.
It disappeared.
Oh,
and
that's where Drain the Ocean came from.
That's what
We're
Yeah.
dude, let's drain the ocean and
let's flood the Feywild. Just open up the Feywild coffin and dump the water.
Yes.
Glad
What if
we
we
didn't
go?
do that.
I wish we would have done that. I
We
just
had
That would have
done
been
what
so
would
fun.
happen.
Core could have gone into the Feywild, been totally shook because it's flooded, and we
Yeah.
get Nodri back, and everything else would have been fine. And
Well, fine is relative, but yeah. So
Didn't Pratha?
Pratha
No, that was
spoke-
when Pratha offered to talk to us, but we refused.
Pray
That wasn't the
first
first
talk
time
to us-
Spruce Leaf got
Oh,
rolled.
I'm sorry. That was
the first talk to
Pratha
us in the inn.
in
the
Way
inn
the
with
Wayward
the-
Soul after.
Oh,
Because
After we fought
Spruce
the
Leaf got
people.
knocked to 0,
Yes.
and then she
Yes.
entered his
Yeah.
body. Yeah,
so
that's
this
right.
was
I forgot
the
about
second
that.
time that we talked to Pratha.
Right. So the
and
first
we were
time, yeah,
like,
that
well,
was
No thanks.
17. Yeah, so it was pretty recent though. That was only 2 episodes prior. But yeah, in this one, heard that, which he was a Archfey patron warlock. So knowing that there was a connection between the Feywild, that was big. But you guys solved the puzzle, got some cool stuff. I can't remember what the items were.
We got a +1 wand, Oh wait, no, that's when we killed the dude.
There was a chest.
Oh, winged
There was a
boots
chest.
and the flood pauldron and 500
Yeah.
platinum.
Yeah,
right.
500 platinum.
Yeah, the
The
platinum.
wings and
Oh.
the shell.
Right after that, Star falls into a pit of acid and
That's right.
melts the entire backside of his armor.
That's
Right,
true.
because that was
You
on
fell in a
another
black
level when
pudding.
we-
That's right.
We kept going through the temple to just explore more and kind
Yeah,
of figure
yeah.
out where this
And there
lady
was no water in the temple
Oh, and then we
anymore.
cheesed that door
And
puzzle
we-
by just dimension dooring through it.
Yeah, and
That
we
was
saved
pretty
the
cool, though.
sister.
Oh. Well,
You did,
we
but
found
first.
we found the door that led to nothing. And we were
Yeah.
like, maybe let's not mess with this door. And we found out later that it leads directly to the
We would have
ocean.
drowned ourselves.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And also in that hallway, you saw the tomb of
Oh, with the
Relian
bell in it.
Dovaris. Yeah,
Yeah, with
you
the bell.
found the key to the end of the arc was in there, and I was like, I wonder if they'll go grave robbing, and you didn't, and then you got to go back, but that's for
Because we
later.
had already seen the consequences of messing with random stuff
I know, yeah.
when it
Exactly,
dispelled
we
our
were-
water breathing.
Yeah.
We were not having it in this temple anymore. We were like, we need to find this hag,
Yeah.
get out of here. We don't
Yeah,
want to mess with
we
anything
were
anymore.
so done. We
Yeah.
were like,
We're
I
"We're
know.
getting out of here."
There was one puzzle in there that you never did with
Yeah,
the
the
horses,
horse door.
the horse door. Yeah, I'll tell you about that later. But anyway, let's keep going.
And then
So
get to the big door, and there's some mechanism which I don't know if we fully figured out, that because I remember the door had opened and some people went inside.
We dimension doored through it.
Not everybody, because you can only dimension door with one person. So 3 of you had gone inside. It was Spruce and I that were still on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And he dimension doored with me through the door. So something where like you have to hold it to
you had
activate
to
or something.
activate.
Yeah,
you had
that's
to
what it
activate
was.
all
And
3
if
of
you
the
let
gems.
go-
Yeah.
So all couldn't make it through the door
Yeah.
at the same
So he had
time.
to,
So we
yeah,
had
and
like
he had the cloak of the mountebank, and that's how
Had
you
the
guys
cloak,
made it through. Yeah.
right. we had like people that couldn't run as fast up to the door, like Zuskell, so that she could just walk through and not have to worry about
And
the
Kit.
door
Yeah.
closing on her. The rest of us kind of booked it, but we couldn't all make it through. So see if Spruce Leaf Dimension Doored with Honk. through
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Those
when
were-
we met the giant marrow dude, or Sahuagin guy, or some sort of fish dude that
Crazy thing, yeah.
had
that
Sinker
the sea
chained to a
hag.
crystal.
The
Head up.
collectionist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Still
he
don't know
kept
what
talking.
that guy's deal was.
I
He
don't-
kept talking
that was-
about his
that was
mistress. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a big whole thing. But you killed him and saved the last Crustworth,
Yep.
and brought her back to the others. Got
Cured her.
Kit fixed.
There was
And-
a chance that she would instantly die from that.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I'll talk about it more later, but I made a table. I rolled a D100, made her roll a D100, or them, sorry, Shannon. And I made the table for what would happen. It's pretty funny, but yeah, I'll get to that later. So the next session, 20, started in.
Oh, we
the
got
Crossroads.
Karen killed for no reason.
Oh yeah, you got an
We
old man
didn't get
killed.
Taryn killed. We told Taryn, stay on the boat.
No,
You don't
we
need
said
to
come with us.
No, we told him not to come. He's like, I want to get adventure. I'm old. And we're like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
you're gonna die. And he's like, that's fine. He came and he lost his hat. I have his hat still. It's on my head with my other hat.
Sea of Stars used to have his oure, but
yeah.
We lost it somewhere. I don't
Used
remember.
it for one fight, and then you're like, this is not better than my gun.
Well, I used it in honor of him.
Yeah, and then you were like, this weapon is garbage. Why did he have this?
Well, because I was like, there has to be some secret to this thing. Like, why was he carrying it around?
You
He's
could
an old
enchant
man
it.
with an oar.
Kit could enchant it so quickly because of her artificer stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So the
Honk
next
smashes
session.
Elspeth on the way back.
That's true.
Hey.
You get back to Mr. Brock.
Oh, we
Help me
learned
on the
about
order.
Gust.
You learned about Gust. Eamon told you about
which
Gust,
remind me about Gust later.
All right.
and Urian told you about the Equinox, right?
Well, he told us after the fight to meet him on the Equinox.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The pit fight, yeah.
That's right.
So we were just killing time until that.
We
Yeah.
had thought, because he had told us his like ledger or something was missing. So we were like, oh, it's going to be a job to find this ledger, and that turned into something completely different.
Yeah, you guys. That was a red
so-
herring. That ledger was a total red herring. That was funny.
Well, and we went back to try and figure out what the white tabaxi, because we thought that the white tabaxi was a higher up in
the Green Armada.
Green Armada.
Uh-huh.
So, and we went back to find them, and we got ambushed because they knew we were coming back, and we found out that they worked for a dragon.
Is this when they?
Oh, maybe
masqueraded
that's
as
when the
guards
spruce
or
leaf.
whatever.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah,
this is when
maybe
the
that's
spruce
when
leaf thing
spruce
happened,
leaf.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it wasn't in episode 17. That was just when you killed Joey's uncle. This when you went
There wasn't no
back.
combat when we killed Joey's
Yeah.
uncle.
Why
Yeah,
there
'cause
wasn't.
I have
uncle? I don't understand.
Spruce's patron in session 20 notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's session 20 that you guys meet Pratha, and because Nigel Grimhollow and Sawpaws on Snow, they work for the Order of the Blue Dragon. They sneak attacked you because you were snooping through their shit, rightfully so, and you rampaged through their room, so they were worried. They told you about the Order of the Blue Dragon a little bit, that they work for this information-desiring dragon in the Isles who lives on a Villa Car. And if you need help to go there, which you later
This
would,
is
but
when
that's
we
okay.
kind of started debating about how to get more information about stuff.
Well, because we didn't want to work for the dragon. We're like,
That's
we don't
true.
want
Want to, but we knew that he would. It figured he would know stuff.
And Honk
we
did feel
didn't-
the tug of the Glimmer fragment this whole
Felt
time.
the tug that way, so I was like, we can kind of both. We don't know anything. We were just operating based on kind of what we thought about what was happening. There's a lot of uncertainty, but we kind of
like
We were
not
guessing
going
for half of the Fencian Isles thing. We were literally
ended up
guessing.
not going to the dragon yet because we didn't want to be indebted to this dragon, and we other routes because things were closer to us anyway. We had other stuff to do.
Yeah.
We
So.
opened at Purple Moon that session.
Yeah, so that's in my notes.
Oh yeah, and the end of that session was the that was the famous Zuskell teacher Matthias talk or Caldrath talk, where
Yeah, I have Zuskell throws down his teacher in my notes.
yeah, that session ended with a badass, and that's actually one of the shorts on our channel. That's I can't remember Daddy Issues. That's our Daddy Issue short.
The longest short on
Our
channel.
20-minute short. Yeah.
20 minutes.
If you want to check that out, you can there. But or episode 20 of Fragments. Regardless,
Was it
that's
great?
where
And Tara,
ended.
you were so good in that.
you were
I
so good.
remember.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Oh,
I
wait,
was
that's
not
when I was-
planning that at all, but like when it happened, I was like,
So good.
That was
it
perfect.
was all improvised.
That was such good roleplay.
Thing.
You were doing what?
Where it was the image where everybody is
Oh,
like,
yeah.
horrified, and I'm just sitting there like,
Oh,
Yeah, and then at the end,
Incredible.
or that session ended. Then the next one was the Shrine of Withering Hands. You went with Urian on the
we got
Equinox.
ripped off by those punks that sold us fake Purple Moon.
Oh,
That was
that's
our-
right.
oh, that's right. We're
Behind
gonna
the
kill
arena
some
or whatever.
kids.
Yeah.
And we tried to find him to kill him. We're like, nobody rips us off.
This is also when Zuskell told Honk and Kit, I think, them two about Bone Daddy and like what was going on there. She kind of let us in a little bit about what was happening.
Because I remember in session 21, when Zuskell first woke up, she was being all moody from her throwdown with teacher, so she walked away.
Oh yeah, she got like donuts.
Yeah. And then the others were trying to find her, and at one point, because they have the bracelets, Honk was like feeling her, but she was on a different level or something.
A different tier, yeah.
Because it doesn't point the direction.
Oh, that's right, because Honk was down at the bottom and she was in the upper reaches.
Yeah.
So they sat down on a bench thinking it would open up a secret.
That's right.
I forgot about that.
Same. Wow, that just unlocked a memory.
We broke that bench.
The funny thing is, that spot is where the prison entrance is that you later went to.
That's where it was. Yeah.
Right. We knew something was there because we could sense like something deeper in, but we didn't know how to activate it.
Yeah.
Later would
we
be
were
helpful.
just sitting on the bench because it was outside, so we're like, maybe that will do something. So we sat on the bench.
That was fantastic.
We helped Urian steal the shard of creation from.
We got ripped off so bad,
and all he gave us was 500 like platinum and a donkey, and then we had to pay for it.
I paid for the donkey.
No, it wasn't even 500 platinum. It was 150
platinum.
But I mean, you also became his friend, and he helped you teleport, and you saved the city and
get
shit.
a world-shattering magic.
I mean,
paid us 1,000 gold.
Barely paid us.
All right, you will forever feel ripped off about that, but it was a fun fight, though.
My gun jammed.
Oh, it was.
But you got Qdoba, so it's okay.
I thought we were gonna die. Third time.
Oh,
I thought we were gonna die there. Oh, that's
that was
rough. Qdoba catered.
Yeah, that was. I wanted to do a gauntlet for that fight. I'll talk more about that later, but I wanted to do a gauntlet, and that was really fun and harrowing for you guys.
We're basically having to fight through night. So like each fight was a different hour of the night.
Mm-hmm.
But we would just be going like we would have some rest periods in there to like regain
short rest
to get like health back and stuff, and like compress a little bit. But it was very intense. It was like a 2-story kind of thing, and like these things could fly all over the place. So height was always into it.
Oh, the flame skulls, with their fireballs.
Could, like fireball.
That's how Qdoba got destroyed.
Everything was.
It got fireballed.
Oh yeah, because I remember Qdoba happened because we're like, man, we're gonna be here all night.
We need catering,
catering or something.
Right. This fight was super cool, but super scary because we were relying on Sea of Stars for a lot of that long range damage.
For the damage,
Honk gave him the winged boots so he could like fly around and get into position good to be shooting stuff. Once Sea of Stars is gun jammed, we really had barely any range at that point. Zuskell was getting low on spells and stuff like that. Right. We were really struggling for long range stuff.
Yeah.
So
that's true, because you had to defend Urian also.
Yes.
Like Honk couldn't go around killing things because he had to defend Urian.
Yeah. That Minotaur skeleton on top of Urian that he had to deal with.
If I left too far, I started positioning further away, but then realized soon, and we all kind of did, that Urian would be destroyed very easily.
Yeah.
So we all kind of, Honk especially, was like right up against him, and that anything was not coming close, Honk couldn't leave.
And Zuskell, I think around this time had like maybe 40 health, so I had to stay far away.
You were on death's door for a majority of the fight.
I think you guys were probably like level 7 max.
Yeah,
we had a lot of necrotic stuff, and these things were either resistant or immune.
They healed,
yeah.
They healed by undead.
It was tough for you to try to do a lot too.
Yeah.
That was a rough fight.
Yeah, that's true.
And then after my gun jammed, I think all I had was a hand crossbow.
And your lifeline.
Which is a D6 of
you had a
lifeline.
Oh, yeah.
The lifeline only does a D4.
Right.
So and you could damage.
Right. I know you Eldritch Blasted a lot.
That's when I was still a profane soul, because I was still tied. I was still tied to Bone Daddy too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
to the Undead Legion.
Yeah,
That fight, super cool, super creative.
It was really hard.
That was
Thank you.
that was very
Dude,
intense.
I was like, are we actually going to be able to do this? Like, we better
I
be
did not-
getting, like, I was like, if we win this fight, we better be getting something good. And then he didn't give us anything else other than the 150 platinum, and I was like, we got ripped off so hard.
But
actually, that scene is when I started making Serico, and I'm like, I'm going to make a guy that hates mages. That just despises mages.
That is
Amazing.
also when we started caring more about Urian and what he was doing, because we knew we gave him something. At the time, we didn't know what it was.
We didn't care about him at that point. We were like, huh, that was weird.
We were like,
That's true. It was like an episode or two later.
Like, he got on our radar, kind of like, okay, this is something's going on here.
Well, we started to care about him when we learned what the shards of creation were.
Bro, especially, for
and
sure.
then we were like, wait, that sounds really familiar.
Not somebody, one of those, and they only gave us 150 platinum for it.
Yeah.
And
to this day, I think we're most angry about the payment we got for doing that.
100%. He couldn't even throw in the donkey.
Yeah,
Wasn't it the it was the Vespin Arcanum book that you got in Gornai in the next episode. The next episode was traveling from Bisterbrek to Gornai, because you had to kill Gust, who was the hit.
Yes.
Because he was gonna break some prisoners out. I'm sorry. Am I jumping ahead too much?
No, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, because the next episode, session 22,
right
before we left for Gornai, I really wanted to go back to Priska. Priska wanted us to go back to her when
You're
Kit
right.
was cured.
That's where the name came from.
Priska had told us, hey, come back to me when you cure Kit, because I'm lonely and I want to talk to people. And I was like, I want to go, because I was still thinking Naji's the Sparrow. So I was like, Priska can scry on him. So I was like, let's go. And we went and we talked to her, whatever. It was just like a little chat. She had read Honk's Fortune before, but I've forgotten mostly about that. I just saw that in my notes a while back, but probably means something. But then I was like, hey, spry on my friend Nadri, and I gave her my lockpicks that were Nadri's, and then she freaked out and was like, you told me not to do that again, and I lost it. I'm like, I knew it.
Yeah, that was the confirmation that Nadri was the Sparrow. Yeah,
Nadri was the Sparrow, Honk's childhood friend. Well, not really. Yeah, childhood, kind of.
It was his childhood, kind of. I mean, teenage.
I mean, he still was a child when the campaign started, so.
Yeah. It was for like 5 years they were together, right?
Yeah.
So it would have been like 10 to 15, about 11 to 16.
That's also when we started the process of buying the Wayward Soul, where we talked to Joey and we're like, sorry about your uncle, by the way.
That's true.
Whoa.
And then, oh geez, my camera.
So many full circle moments here.
Yeah, so then in the next episode, you guys travel to Gornai.
Stone, which is the guy in prison.
Amazing.
No. Smelled what he was cooking.
Oh man. Yeah.
I wrote that down. I was like, this is amazing. We have to meet the stone. Yeah, we went to the Sirath Oubliette and Gornai to stop Gust from jailbreaking a bunch of dudes.
Well, you cased it in chapter 22, and then 23 was for the fight.
Oh, yeah, because we still went around Gornai a little bit.
Yeah. Didn't you went to Selene in chapter 22, right? Or was that in 23? I can't remember. Selene after or before Gust? It's in my notes before, but that's because my prep.
No, session 24 is when I met
Selene. Yeah.
So we did the Sirath Oubliette because the Sirath Oubliette was on a timer. It was that night he was getting, because we barely made it to the city on time.
Yes. Yeah. And that was why we were so hesitant to go back to Priska, is that we were on a time crunch.
Yeah.
We didn't want to run out of time. Made it in time to the prison.
So we flew into the prison.
Right.
Into the upper floor.
Yeah, that I did not expect.
Winged boots.
Sea of Stars and Spruce Leaf dimension doored.
The cat's dimension doored, yeah.
Top. Then Honk flew the other two up.
Yes.
We got there was something with the bars, and we couldn't see where they were, basically.
Oh, because
you guys had dimension doored into a cell.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. And there was it was magic canceling. Canceling.
So we're flying around on the outside, and finally we get in. And Zuskell can't do any magic in there. because it's magic
Oh
hands.
yeah,
Like,
that
Zuskell-
fight. Yeah.
But you popped off with that crossbow. You were like making.
Yeah, you were
That's
rolling
true.
really well.
Luckily, yeah.
Yeah,
some
you guys.
damage.
Yeah, this air genos, or no, it was a.
It was a djinn.
A djinn. It was a djinn.
That was
You
Gus.
guys, and he had the people who he sprang, which were
Yes.
the Gith. Yeah, and you took them out, took his stuff as proof, and then left. That was
Yeah,
in
we were
chapter
gonna get a
23.
bonus if we left him alive, but at that
Right,
point
but
the
we
guards
couldn't-
were starting to show up, and we're like, we
Yeah.
already
We had kind
broke
of-
into prison.
We had kind of convinced them not to attack us, but they also wanted us to surrender. We
Well-
were trying to, because this was another time where we were all getting really low, and this was a tough fight for us.
That was a
and
tough
we were
one.
like, we can't surrender, or this dude will kill all of us here. Like he'll kill
Also,
you, us.
We had our chancellor wreaths hidden
Yes.
until the very last
That's
second
true.
when we were like,
Zuskell,
oh,
I
we
think-
actually work for the chancellor.
I
Please
think
help.
Zuskell was the one that was like, look, I have this. And
Yeah.
They kind of were like, okay,
I feel
we'll
like
deal with you later. But
I think Spruce Leaf was handcuffed at that point. I think Spruce Leaf let himself get handcuffed
Yeah.
yeah,
because he was worried. And
his turn was
yeah,
first, so he was like, okay, I'll submit.
Because we were all really low.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was
really
tough without
tough
the
fight.
magic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think especially because I think Kit used a couple turns trying to heal but couldn't, and so like you guys
Because
were behind
my
on damage.
Because
At that
potions
point, I
didn't
was-
work either.
Yeah,
Nothing was
potions didn't
working.
work and nothing counted as magical. So I think he was
So
even
my-
resistant to non-magical, which
Hey.
means yeah.
I was using a regular whip that I had been using because it was magical.
That's
at the
right.
time.
Yeah.
I was using the Scarlet
Yeah,
Scourge,
Scarlet
and
Scourge.
I couldn't regain health from that, which I had used so much throughout the campaign up to then, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah, so
Yes,
you guys beat
Scar's
Gust.
guns weren't magical. Or his
Yeah,
gun
everything
wasn't
was-
his
magical
gun
either.
wasn't. Yeah.
sick.
So yeah, you beat him, left, you talked to Celine, who was Sea of Stars' old group mate, learned that she was not the one who betrayed him.
Yes. and
Learned that she was on the
around this
level.
time, we started to form conspiracies about
Yeah. more
the Vespin
conspiracies.
Arcanum being in on the Calamity and
Oh,
all
yeah.
that.
This is also when we were talking about the males. In the brothel, there was no male. I have this in my notes. No male hookos.
Oh, the hookos.
Yeah.
Oh no.
What's the male version of a hooker? A hooko.
We're trying to get Zuskell to go find a male hooker.
Oh, also, I don't know. Was it in that session when Sea of Stars had his dream about the masquerade?
Oh, about Honk's mom.
Yeah, about Honk's mom, but on the masquerade floor. I think
Yeah,
so.
I think. Let me look. I
Oh,
think that was-
and I'm sorry. What
no,
were you
go
gonna
ahead.
I was just gonna say, the last episode, chapter 22, was titled "The Nature of Friendship" because it ended
Yeah.
with Honk finding out that Nadri is the Sparrow, and we started off chapter 23 with a memory between Nadri and Honk that I really wanted to put in to kind of set the stage for both Ronan because he'd just written a bunch about Nadri, and then everyone else so that they understood what the nature of their friendship was.
At that point in time, I, as a player, was really starting to think that when we do find Nadri, it's gonna come down to like fight between.
Sea of Stars
Nadri
wanted
not
to
wanting
kill him too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, CSRs did not care.
Because at
He's
that
like,
point,
if,
we were
if that's what
contracted.
it takes, that's what it takes.
Yeah,
We were contracted to kill whoever the Sparrow was
that's true. Yeah.
from Rose. And on top of that, we knew that he had the shroud that Zuskell wanted. So I'm like,
Mhm.
this is really going to come down to me having to choose
Yeah.
between if I support Zuskell and what she wants, or Nadri. I don't know how that was
Because-
going to end.
Especially at that point, because she just basically severed her loyalty
The
to
teacher.
teacher. Yeah.
That's true.
Zuskell
So she-
really needed that magic item to keep her safe. So I was like, dang, gonna fight for it if Nadri doesn't give it up.
But Nadri also needed the Afterstride Shroud to hide from
Protect
Rose.
from Rose.
Yeah.
So I thought he was gonna
The-
fight to keep it, and I was like, oh, this will not end well, but I'll deal with that later. And
Yeah.
just kept trudging along.
Yeah, because the Afterstride Shroud guards one from magical prying, so they can't be scryed on. They can't be like gated. They can't be messaged. Nothing. So
No divot. It's like a non-detection.
basically, you're always under the effects of non-detection. That's part of the item description, and among other things. But which actually, well, we'll talk about how
are we
Matthias
still on
made it lame.
episode 24?
23 going
Yes.
into 24. So
Because
24 was a big one.
we'd been up through this point. We'd been planning on stealing an airship,
Right. And-
to get like information about the Armada and the Consortium. And
Yeah.
24 is when we actually acted on it.
Yeah, you found where one was. It was going to be an Aerial Rock, which is
Yes.
almost kind
we
of where
had heard
you
about
entered.
beforehand. I think we,
Yes.
especially
You-
when we
you
came
saw
on
it.
on
You
the way
saw
in,
it.
We saw it. Yeah.
That was basically the
Styles.
Consortium's point of contact with the Armada.
Yes.
So yeah, you
and we
went
knew
to
that there were
Aerial Rock.
high-ranking people on the ship from other sources.
Yeah, and Spruce Leaf used his bird, whose name I'm forgetting at the moment.
Mikhail.
Right,
Mikhail, yeah, to go
and
look.
see through his eyes to see what
Yeah.
he saw.
Yeah, flew all the way across the ocean, saw Husk
Right.
on it,
Yeah,
and a bunch of a drow that were also hunting Renkari. Fun
Yep.
fact.
The drow was
we
hunting
didn't
Renkari.
know. Well, I don't know if.
No, we didn't.
The
We
rest
don't
of us,
know.
the rest of us had no idea. We just saw people on the boat, and we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the end of
and it
that
was around.
session
Go ahead.
is when we found out. Well, also in this session, Glimmer was talking to Honk, I think, because I have this in my notes about how she doesn't have much power left, and
Yeah, you were
she
getting
wants to,
closer
she
the
wants to
pole.
carry the torch, kind of thing, and somebody to find her and put her together or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of this session is when we found out that Husk, who Honk knew, the Bloody Orphans, was Kit's dad.
Yes.
That was like, this is like the first time that, I guess it was through the bird that we kind of figured this out, but this is like the last note I have from that session is that Husk, who was an awful dude to Honk and just like was part of the reason that he.
In 24, you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
have.
no, well, that was you guys
Yeah, no,
landed
24.
on their ship. You because
Oh, okay.
Zuskell
I have,
polymorphed and you guys landed on it, and then it ended with Husk saying, "Catherine," and then
Yeah.
we
Right,
cut,
right,
and
right,
Shannon
right,
was
right,
freaking
right,
out.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then the next one was the fight.
Yeah,
Yes,
the big
and
fight,
that's-
chapter
We
25.
Honk threw Husk into the sea,
Yeah,
and then
Oh, that's right.
Theostars
because
dropped the airship on him.
that
Honk
did
had
not.
the, boots, the
Yeah.
flying boots still. So I grappled Husk, him out over the ocean. He was like, "Let go of me," and I'm like, "Okay." And then I drop him into the ocean, so far from everyone. So he at least like has to. And we were high up, so he fell.
Yeah.
Probably took some damage from that. And then Sea of Stars tilts the airship and just slams it down onto him. Probably one of the best moments in the campaign.
And then
Incredible.
yeah,
And
it,
then, well,
yeah.
Spruce Leaf and I were still on the ship, and then the drow just murk us. out
I
of
think-
no- because you
I
guys
think
are
well,
on the
Spruce
shore.
Leaf was in the
only-
water.
you were the
Yeah,
only
Spruce Leaf
one.
was in the
Oh
water
no,
because
Spruce
you
Leaf
tilted
died in
it.
the- Yeah.
You had your lifeline, and then you flipped it. Everyone except
oh, yeah,
for
I
you
flipped it
fell.
upside down. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
right.
drow,
Yeah,
the
we all
drow
fell
was
off.
below deck, and you, everyone
And all
fell.
of us
Spruce
went onto the
Leaf-
shore because there were
Yeah.
still people there, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
were like doing your thing, and we
Well,
had
I was
no
trying
idea
to
what was
flip
happening to
I
you.
was trying to actually like steal the airship,
Right.
like we
Right.
like our original purpose was. I was
That's
trying to get it
right.
out of there.
Yeah,
Right.
And then
And
the
You
drow
then-
were doing
murdered me.
rolls and stuff on your end, but we had no
Yeah.
clue. We were like, because that map I remember being huge.
yeah, that was a big
There
one.
was really actual
Yeah.
distance on that map that corresponded to like the scale of how big this battle was.
Yeah,
And so
it was
we were
big.
like 100+ feet away. We had no
Yeah.
idea
And
what
you
was
didn't
going on
even
with the
know that I
airship.
was getting stabbed.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
We
Yeah.
had no clue.
And he
You
just
end
kept
up-
stabbing me when I was down too.
Yeah, it was an assassin rogue sent after Renkari. Like, yeah, the family. I'll talk about that later. But the family who was going after Renkari got hired to work with the consortium. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh geez, he had a really good magical rapier. I forgot about that. Anyway,
Renkari had not told us.
right.
Well, Renkari had told
A
us when we
little
had our
bit.
little group counseling session
in episode
people
3,
were out to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, there are people trying to kill me," and we're like,
Yeah.
"What?"
and we never really touched on it again. And then he died.
Yeah.
There was nothing we could do about that.
Yeah, and then we were like, oh, I guess we don't have to worry about it because he's dead.
Him being there wasn't him coming after Rinkari's group. It was more, he was just there talking with the consortium and help them. And it was just, hey, maybe Adrian will freak out about this. Like, shit's still going on, but yeah.
Yeah.
How that fight did still, because something happened to Spruce Leaf. I guess he got knocked out again.
Spruce Leaf died outright.
And Pratha took over his body.
Pratha took over
and pranced off into the wilderness.
Yeah, she left.
The
She
island.
fucked off.
It was Honk, Kit, and Zuskell on the beach. We're all hurt. People are still Honk. Team killed.
Husk was dead, and you killed Verdi, who was the sorcerer.
We killed Verdi.
Mm-hmm.
Other one, I forget which one it was. I don't know if I have it in my notes because I didn't write anything from that session. My notes are that there was a message that was sent out. There's one other named member that I don't remember. It was...
He sent a message to Pickwick, I think, or someone else, right? Am I wrong?
I think there was...
I can't remember.
No, yeah, they definitely sent the message. I have the message that there's 5 of them. They have the Horizon, which is the name of the airship.
Oh, that's right. Times Horizon, yeah.
I have a Landor who is an elf in my notes.
Elandor and Phelan were the elves who were they were on the ship with you.
I have.
Oh, okay.
They were the crew.
Tall woman, long straight back hair, ponytail, muscular. I want to F her. So
we never did actually.
That's right.
I have that in my notes as well. I never effed Phelan. So that was 2 sessions later.
Oh, the break between. So I do all my notes per character. And the break between episode 25 and 33 is hilarious. Let me
So Sea of Stars, we get back to the airship with the 3 of us that are still alive at this point. Okay, what's going on with Sea of Stars?
All of our
find out that he's
dying.
Dead. So I think we did is we just
took Husk's
flew
body
out of there. Because we didn't take the airship. We went back to our ship that was waiting for us.
Right.
I think we just kind of like flew ourselves away because people were still coming. We had heard the message go out.
Yeah.
People were going to be coming to find us.
You put
we just left.
Kit's dad in your bag.
in the bag of holding.
And
you tried to bring Sea of Stars back to life.
When we got back to the ship,
I did.
That's right.
We had Kit talk to her dad.
Or not raised dead, but yeah. Keep going, sorry.
Kit talked to her dad, try to get answers about stuff, and he was just not having it because he did not like Kit, and it wasn't like...
So I did... Verdi speak with Dad, I think?
You did a bunch of speak with Dad. I can't remember.
Speak with Dad for sure, because we talked to Kit's dad, and we asked
you
him
did take Verdi
stuff.
also, because you got his stuff.
Yeah.
Did get Verdi's stuff, yeah. We didn't have enough to talk to all of them.
Right.
We did for Kit's dad to try to find out more about what was going on. And we tried to bring Sea of Stars back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Just ended up being like a zombie kind of thing that didn't
even respond.
Right.
That's right.
It only lasted 24 hours.
Yeah, because I think...
It was like Create Undead or something. It wasn't... Yeah.
It's not like a reviving spell. It was like hey, you'll make like a zombie kind of thing. So we tried it just to see what would happen.
Because I can't remember if it was Jack or Matthias at the time still Caldrath. But
it was still Caldrath. Matthias was after the Shroud.
Yeah. Okay. Someone explained that like the way he was brought back, it was like when you turn on a TV, I think, and you're on the wrong channel. And it's like nothing's responding.
Yeah, the body was there, but the soul wasn't.
Yeah.
So we had Sea of Stars, but there was no connection.
Which was
because its soul belonged elsewhere. That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because it belonged to the prince.
Yep.
That's
right.
Gave up on that, and we kind of like it was something that we could have kept doing. Like done every day or whatever to keep the undead, but we were just like whatever, we don't really
wasn't worth it. It was just a husk, so to speak. Yeah, so that episode ended and you were going back to Bisterbrock the long way.
Yep.
You
got to the Wayward Soul.
Yeah, you talked to Celine. I think you took Celine with you, right?
Did end up taking Celine with us
because
she
was in danger.
those of us that were alive, I think Honk was the only one that knew of Celine, so I went back because I had gone with.
Yeah, because you went with Sea of Stars
yeah.
to talk to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, he's dead. Gave her his gun as like a gift kind of thing. And it was like, and she was like, he told me I would be safe, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you can come with us if you want. Like, I don't know. Because at that point, none of us knew. We, out of character, had seen the stuff that Sea of Stars was getting messages from this dude about. We knew there was somebody talking to him, but none of the characters knew what was going to deal with Sea of Stars was.
Yeah, because his whole backstory was airship blew up, his girlfriend died, they were thrown in a body pile for the prince to resurrect to like get rid of the bodies. He wasn't completely dead though, so when the undead prince tried to resurrect their souls, like to make them undead, it like kind of partially affected him, and like he had like partial hold over his soul, and the whole thing was he kept trying to tempt him to like give up and like give his entire soul to him, and he was like, no, I won't.
So Celine was very concerned for her safety because Sea of Stars was like, I'll keep you safe, I know you're not the one that betrayed me.
Well,
like,
and there were people, he thought that people were still after him,
right,
from the consortium.
So he had told her like, hey, people are coming, like careful, whatever. So she was like freaking out. So we're like, okay, you can come back to us, because at that point we were like, I don't think we had the tavern yet. But
no, you didn't. Wayward Soul was the next episode.
I've kind of decided that Sea of Stars wanted the tavern so badly that we would buy it, kind of in his honor, so to speak. We're like, okay, we're gonna have this tavern, we'll be making like money, and it'll be a place for you to stay, whatever. You can be safe here. So she's like, okay, and she came with us.
And that started teaching Joey about alcohol.
That's true, because Joey sucked.
Joey was
great.
I love Joey. He was a random NPC that I improvised, and now he's my favorite. But yes,
instantly I got attached. I'm like, this child is going to make it with us through the campaign if I'm.
Episode 26 is also when we met Rustin Breck, and almost.
That's right.
Almost stopped him from stopping an explosion from going.
But before
off.
that was Serico and Sly.
Yeah, you met Serico and Sly at the Wayward Soul.
Old veterans. You guys.
And you got a letter from somebody telling you to go there. And meet.
That's right.
That's right. I think Celine. Somebody gave us the letter. Was it
Celine gave us the letter? Celine did. Yeah. I totally forgot about that. I think that was my mistake.
Yeah, Celine gave you a letter that says there are people at the Wayward Soul that need your help.
Yep. And then the five of you.
And it's like there's like random patrons and stuff, and then the two obvious main characters at the back of the bar. We're going up to like the old lady dwarf.
There's like an old lady dwarf,
grandchild.
We're like, hey, do you need assistance?
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys. I don't think you guys bought it that episode.
I do have a question. I didn't think I have a question, but I have a question.
I don't know. It's not in my notes. What, Ronan?
I'll get to it when we get to it, but
okay. Okay. Fuck.
I wrote a bunch of random stuff down from this session. None of it makes sense to me.
Let's get to the end of the session and we can maybe piece it together. But that session, you guys went right.
He was doing something with the exploding dude.
Are we on session 27?
26.
End of 26.
In my notes for 26 that they buy the bar.
Oh,
I was wrong. So yeah, you guys bought that the next day or something. I can't remember, but
I think it was something with like Joey had to do paperwork.
Yes, Joey had to get the deed in our name. Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
We gave him the money and was like, go directly to the place. Very explicit instructions for dumb Joey.
Yeah, but episode 26, before we move on, was just the end of it was you guys went to the dock where your ship, the Steelborn Cascade. There was another exploding person was like frozen in time, and you saw this blood hunter, Rustin Breck, who had frozen them in time and was trying to contain them. And you guys,
was like, man, I don't deal with mages.
Broke his concentration. And then a bunch of devils got summoned.
Right.
And you guys fought them off.
It was also a very good fight. That was cool. That kind of that transition, which I don't think was how that combat should have gone, obviously. But
I liked it. I thought that was cool.
I don't think that combat was supposed to happen at all.
Right.
It could have been
I think-
avoided 100%.
Yeah.
For sure, but I think there was definitely the plan for us to screw it up, which we did. But to see that shift like halfway through was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And, like all these random devils and like these giant things popping up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was neat. And then I think session ended there, and then
Yep.
afterwards, episode 27
Well,
then
he
happened.
said that he knew what the symbol was. And
Saw
Right,
it
the symbol.
on him. It was on his
yeah,
arm.
it was
or something like
tattooed
that.
on him.
That's
And we're
right. He
like,
does have the
"Oh,
tattoo
we know that.
of the
What do you know
hourglass
about
with the
that?"
scythe through it.
Well,
yeah.
and up to that point, we had exhausted every single resource that we could possibly think
Yeah.
of.
You're
Like,
at the
we
end of
were
your rope.
completely at a loss as to what
Yeah.
the symbol was. So we were just desperate for any information about it.
Right.
And yeah, episode 27, you talked to him. He told you about how he was at Pier 60 years ago, which is the city in the Needle. That's where blood hunters learned and are bred, basically. And that's where the Calamity was. He was a kid. He was like 6 or 7 at the time, or 12, I don't know. He'd just taken the Hunter's Bane, and he told you that he saw that emblem in the sky, and he carved it into himself so that he would never forget after he saw his like masters being melted and shit. And all the mages flying through the sky. So he's trying to prevent the second calamity from
Yeah,
happening.
and he can kind of predict where and when the
Yeah.
explosions will happen.
Yep.
Yes. And he told us the next one was on Isle Ilir.
Yes.
Yeah, it was gonna happen in about a
And-
week, I think.
Yes. And right at that point, Honk found the white rose in the envelope from Kelkor,
Mhm.
inviting us to go talk to him.
That's
And
right.
at
That
that
was
point, we were kind of on the train of like, is the Armada even that bad?
bad, right?
I think we were on that train of thought at that point.
At that point, we thought that the Arcanum, which I still kind of
Yeah,
On
there's
the
something
fence.
going on with them.
where we're at with them, but we thought the Arcanum was evil. We thought based on the King of Anvil, I think it was
Kristan?
something. Oh no!
Oh, Ember, List
back-
and Emberholt?
King Sparky. I forget what city it was.
Yeah,
that-
List and Emberholt
List and
and White
Emberholt.
Anvil.
White Anvil, yeah.
He had. Maybe this was us misinterpreting, but there was something with like the family had been in there for a long time. They were ruling.
They
and then this
deposed
dude-
the old family.
Right, this dude
yeah.
just came in and like killed this like lineage of ruling the family and took over.
Yeah.
We were like, that's kind of sus. And then
Yeah.
there was something with the blockade that to us didn't make sense at that point. So we thought they were evil.
Kelkor said that they created the blockade. Well, we thought that they created the blockade to protect themselves from the Vespin Arcane.
Yes, that's what it was. Because
We're
thought
like,
that
is the
everything
blockade
was-
even bad?
we had
Yeah.
transitioned from thinking that the blockade was to keep people out to instead to keep them in so that they
Yeah.
couldn't,
Yeah.
nothing bad could happen to them. The
Right.
Arcanum when it did their thing. We were already sketched out, and we didn't like the consortium because we knew that had association with the bloody orphans and all that stuff. So we're like,
Yeah.
Armada might not be the worst party
we're like-
involved here.
If somebody has to not be evil here, and it's
Right,
probably
some-
the Armada.
And Austin kept making great points about this dude probably being in it just for personal gain, while the other people are probably trying to do something bigger. Like this dude was just like trying to like his own stuff and worry about his own thing or whatever, and the other people we were kind of like sketched out about.
About who?
'Cause
What,
I
which
wanted to-
person? Kelkor?
Kelkor.
Because
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
like, 'cause, Austin kept
He's
just
like,
talking
"I
about
just
how
wanna
this dude
escape."
was like, he's like, I just want to get out of here, and like I want to. And Austin was like, if he wants to do something in the Feywild, let him do something in the Feywild.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Well,
yeah.
that was in a huge part Serico talking, because Serico does not care about literally anything. That was his entire point, was he doesn't care about anything because he thinks that he can just go back in time and undo all of
And-
his mistakes.
Right. It
kind
doesn't
of
matter
checked
what
out of
happens in the
where we
future.
were at that point in the campaign. Like we didn't trust any of the other parties, and it was like, if we have to rely on one party, this dude, when we met with him, gave us an end to the blockade. We're like,
Yep.
okay.
And nobody
point,
else
we
would
had-
even like
right.
talk to us.
At that point, we had no
Right.
other like courses to go down that we exhausted like all of our efforts that
Yeah.
we thought we had at the time. So we're like, this dude is giving us an out.
And Naudri was there. I don't know
And
if you
he's
said
giving
that already.
right. We found
we
out
get
that he
Naudri
was
out,
holding Naudri, and he was like, "I will give you Naudri," and we're like, oh, "Okay, sure." We'll
And
That's all our
Serico
problems.
distrusted mages, and he's like, this guy's gonna lie. And then I was like, oh, this guy wants to be an archfey. So
Right, you
let
did the
me get
contract
him
kind of
to
thing. Yeah.
act like an
Yeah.
archfey and sign a contract. And I was like,
Right.
this is genius.
I
Now
like
he
that a
can't
lot.
leave the Feywild. All of his influence is limited to the Feywild, which is way easier to deal with.
Yeah.
Okay, my question.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. You can't answer this or if it's anything. I picked up the rose and you had me roll a save.
Mm-hmm.
That mean anything, or is there anything you can tell me about that?
Descry.
Oh, I was fucking with you.
That's what I figured. It's like, make a con save. And I rolled great, and he was like, oh, good to know. And I'm like, he's probably messing with me. Then you got like super serious about something, and you wrote down, I'm like, oh crap, like, am I gonna die?
I was
Like,
still fucking with you then. I
I'm gonna
wrote
die in,
down
two
like
sessions from now.
Ronan thinks I'm fucking with him.
I'm
Or Ronan doesn't know I'm
terrified.
fucking with him.
Yeah, it was spooky. Yeah, that makes
That's also when
Um,
we learned about Lucer Devine.
Yeah, Lacer Devine, he told you, Kelkor told you about that, because this was the first Vespin Arcana member. Like, I like to see everything before the Isles as, like, childhood, and then Fencing Isles is adolescence, because you're kind of learning stuff, and you have some experience, but you're not really sure. And now you
Kelkor
guys,
was the first person to
Yeah.
actually tell us stuff.
like, tell you what's going
Like-
on. Yeah.
us concrete answers to the questions that we were asking.
And that definitely made me want to work with him, because I was like,
Right, like
this
even
guy
if
is
he
the first guy to actually be honest with us. Like, even Urian was shady about stuff.
right, everybody else wasn't telling us
Yeah.
anything, and this dude gave us a course of action to take that would result in actual action being done. So
Well,
we're
because
like,
we had
okay.
been spinning our wheels for like
Right.
8 sessions at that point.
Yeah.
We were like, what do we even do?
Right,
Like, we're just getting more and more questions, and we finally got answers from this guy.
right.
Yeah. That was a big turning point in the arc, I think. And
He told us then that he wants to access the Isle of Mist, which is like
yep.
the portal to the Feywild that's
Yeah.
been sealed away and nobody.
And that's where Seriko needed to go as well. He needed
Yep.
to go to Chalisar. So he was like, this can be mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
There were people that the island had sunk, so nobody knows where it is anymore. There's a
Yep.
way to find it and to bring it back
And
up.
that each member had a
activate
key
it.
that
Each
you
member has a
need.
key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Member
each
of the
council
council
member.
Chancellor
roll
just gave
on
us
the
the
Isles.
key.
Right.
Like,
I
he gave
really
us his-
wanted to like, you guys kind of around these few episodes, you guys were trusting him implicitly, which was a part of it's because like just how the arc went. This isn't like bad at all. It's just you guys didn't go the way the way those answers were. So I was like,
Well, we
okay,
didn't
they
get
trust
any
him.
bad
Cool.
signals from him at all.
Right,
There
exactly.
was
And
no
that's
indication
yeah.
that he was up to anything.
Yeah, and he
that
was
we
just
found.
yeah, he was just a master. I mean, he's a politician and knew how to work you guys. And
I feel
I'll tell
like
you,
there was some kind of like
I'll-
in the back of our minds, maybe like whenever there's a figure of power like that, you're always kind of
Right.
sketched out a little bit. But he was
Right.
always very like
Well, and he helped
coming
us
to a sense
as
with
much
us.
as,
He helped us.
Yeah.
Right.
and he knew we were actively trying to do something that went against his interests.
yeah, I will
Right,
tell you
so-
100% about Gristan after we're done with recap, because I think there's a lot of stuff that might make
I
sense
still have no
and might
idea
not.
why he did what he like. I have no
Exactly,
idea
yeah.
what his motivations are.
Yeah,
Like, we
and
never found out.
I think
Oh.
that I like that happened like that. Like, yeah, you guys could have figured out, but I also like the genuine feeling that like if your characters were in that situation, they wouldn't know. Like, that's why I didn't just tell you like this is what's going
Yeah.
on. You should check
I
this
remember
out.
like finding out that he was evil, and I'm like, but why?
Yeah.
This is
Why is he
so
trying to bring the
weird.
calamity?
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah,
Gristan is trying to do the calamity. Like,
Yeah.
what?
I'll tell you about it. It is slightly deeper than you guys saw, and it's just I don't know. It's like in Lord of the Rings, like there were shitloads of other people doing other stuff at that time, but you don't focus on them because like
Yeah.
whatever. And you guys are just those shitloads of other people. Like, oh, you just happened upon all of the things. I mean, maybe not happened upon, but you know what I mean. I don't know. Happened upon heroism, and I kind of like
Yeah.
that. But anyway,
And at
Green
the
Art,
end
this
of 27,
yeah,
we
go.
set up the council meeting to get everybody
Yeah.
else's keys.
All these next
right.
sessions kind of connected
Go together.
into like
Yeah.
one big story chunk of the council, which is like We had to set it up. We had to wait some time. I think we like just killed some time in the area because it had to like the message had to get out or whatever. So we just shopped or whatever to prep. Kind of found out a little bit more about all the council members and
and we knew that there would be an explosion there, so we were getting ready for that.
Right. So we were anticipating that happening. I'd heard from
we learned about each of the counselors, like who would be hard to crack.
Right. We needed key from each of the council members, so we wanted to give ourselves the most chance of success to getting that vote in our favor. We tried to find out about who would be hard to crack, who wouldn't want to be on board, who Gristan has good rapport with, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We got some good information there, and then we really took like a political turn with the campaign with these council sessions. Like we tried to do some...
Yeah, for a couple there,
We tried to do some... Like, we had heard from one of them that the people could... the council members on board. Basically, if the people weren't in favor of it, the council member might be more likely to vote in our favor.
Yes.
So when we got to that aisle, started like a rebellion, so to speak.
Serico told you to just get the people talking about it, and you took that as
and then
let's start a riot.
Crazy.
Serico told Honk and Zuskell, the two dumb ones of the party, to you guys can.
You'd think that after so many times.
Yeah, people would give them a babysitter.
After the last time of them breaking into the prison, with Honk and Zuskell being the ones to try and find information about the prison before they break in, and then they didn't do that. And then they went into the prison and there was no magic. Do you think they learned from that?
Go to...
You guys found like a
prison with us,
and that's it.
That's right. That was prison with us.
That's right. Yeah.
Serico was like, "Hey, go get intel about the prison." And we're like, "Okay." And then we go shopping, and we found the tattoo man. And I'm like, "Whoa! I really want a tattoo."
We gotta
like,
get a
both
tattoo.
Out of character and in character, I was distracted. I'm like, "Forget
magical
the prison.
Tattoos.
There's a magical tattoo man here. How do I get one? I want one right now."
You come back and Serico's like, "Oh, what did you guys learn?" And you're like, "Oh, there's a tattooist." He's like. Because the prison break's happening in like an hour. We don't have time to go get
time. We had nothing. You guys were like posted up.
We were on like guard rotation.
Right.
That was what made that fight so harrowing, was that you guys were so unprepared. Like
getting like personnel shifts, you were scouting things out, you were looking, and then we go
and Sly were like doing a full-on Ocean's 11 like stakeout, and you guys were just screwing around.
And Honk and Zuskell were just 11 years old and got distracted by the shiny things in the market.
Honk and Zuskell, I feel like on their own aren't that bad, but when they're together, it just
a recipe for disaster. So we get told by Serico again. Get told by Serico, hey, get the people talking. Go spread the word that this is going on. And I remember. Oh, let me see if I could find.
Oh, I have it.
You
I
wrote
have
something
it
funny.
I was just looking at it.
I asked specifically. I'm like, what do you want me to say? And Serico fed me lines. And I'm like, okay, that is all I'm saying. So I just started saying those lines over and over again. And it started a riot.
There is a deal to end the blockade. It's all up to the council members. If it doesn't end, it's the council's fault. That's what I have written down.
Which is a really good sentiment to spread among the people.
Then they bolstered that into a riot, and at that point we're like, yeah, this is cool. So Honk and Zuskell abandoned that, and we're like, kill the council, burn it with fire, and we just start this massive riot that's parading through this poor town.
Although
the council members.
The riot was very useful for Serico because he got to see the condition of the people.
Yeah.
And it reminded him so much of how Midir is.
Yeah.
Midir's just horrible. It's so bad. Well, it was.
Yeah.
The previous timeline, Midir was so bad. And he saw them and it reminded him, and he's like, okay, I know what angle I'm going with for trying to persuade the council. So it kind of helped him, but at the same time, having a mob trying to lynch the council members was not good.
Yeah.
Also, jumping I mean, because we had met the council and we didn't do a lot with that kind of stuff. It was just a lot of
We
talking.
tried.
And a
They
lot
were
of,
just like really hard to
we
deal
talked
with.
to all of, like, they were all staying at this one location in the center of wherever this council meeting was happening. So we talked to them. We met like all of them, and it just wasn't going. Like, some of them had their minds made up already and weren't being convinced, and some other ones just didn't care who we were, to be honest. Like, we're just random people showing up and like telling them like, hey, give us your vote, and they're like, whatever, like, who are you? We don't care.
Yeah.
It didn't go over very well. So we
Right.
where was I going with this? Session 30, I don't know, like
towards the end of this of 28, that's when the time cops first showed up.
Yeah, Time Cop Lawkeeper showed up and talked to
Right.
Seriko and Sly.
And
I
Kit.
need to go to bed.
That's okay, Tara. You go to the sleepies.
Bye, Tara.
Get some
Bye.
shut-eye. Bye. Yeah, he told you in a couple days' time, 32 minutes past midday, a temporal nexus will occur. It is imperative that you divert from your intended path. So the Lawkeeper was basically telling Seriko and Sly not to go forward with this meeting.
The space-time continuum.
Yeah, which
also in session 29, Seriko breaks into that hideout with the bird masks. And
that's the next. That's the next.
That was the next episode.
Right.
Yeah.
That was 29. Yeah.
Yeah. And
so
then
there was
the
a fight. There was a fight. Yeah, there was an explosion. Yeah, after the time cops.
I wasn't there.
And Rustin Breck never showed up, and we were just like, huh. And then
you never followed up on that. And he was in. Yeah, I'll talk about it. Yeah, I'll talk about it more later. But yeah, he was in the prison. So yeah, 29. You had to fight in the. I think you had to fight right in the chambers.
Yeah, we had to fight in the royal chambers.
Yeah,
and
there
Ellis
was
Axelby. What's up with her?
Yeah, so that was I have a lot of thoughts on her. I'll tell you later. She's not important now. She was super early, and this is just me. I made an NPC I liked 2 years ago, and I wanted to put her in.
Okay. She seemed important. I just wasn't sure if she was.
I'll tell you about it. It was
the
for
poor lady that like led the rebellion, right?
But she used to be a noble.
Yeah. I'll tell you about it. So anyway, yeah. So 29, you did that, and then you had the summit. I
infiltrated the brand bearers.
You infiltrated, right?
Oh, that's right, the brand bearers.
Found out that they were working with the council.
This is when we first started talking to the council. This is where I like wrote down all the descriptions of the council.
That's
they wanted and things like that.
We talked to Tempest about she banged one of the brand bearers. Tempest did.
I improvised 100% of the brand bear stuff. That was fun.
Dude, the ghost step tattoo.
That was so good. Yeah, I'm glad that Seriko's gone because that was messed up. But that was fun. I like that.
This is when, if I'm right, this is when the summit happened.
Yeah, the summit was 29.
We got the vote.
I had wrote down session 29.
29 was the summit of Ilir. Yep. And I made a cheat sheet of all of the council members so that I could because I had to do 12 voices at a time, talk to myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys did well in the council chambers.
I had written down who said yes and who said no, and now I don't see where it is.
Well,
but basically, we got the majority of the vote to lean in our favor.
Yeah, and Seriko rolled really low.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was not anticipating on you being able to persuade them. I knew that I wasn't gonna give you guys one or the other. I was like, I have to see what they say to these council members because ultimately they're asking to open up their borders to Fae people. Yeah. That's scary. And I had a note 32 minutes in, tell Kit because that's when I think Kit was with you guys, was with Sly and Seriko.
In the council.
Yeah, so Kit knew when the temporal nexus would be, and right then was when I think you started talking, when Seriko started talking. I was like,
yes.
I asked for your address. I was like, what are you gonna do? And I wanted you to know this is the turning point in the time stuff.
And the route I went was making them fear their constituents.
And it worked.
You guys
really.
better watch out because your people are starving.
Yeah.
And I was thinking a lot about a lot of that came from like actual history, like actual famines that had happened and stuff. I had been reading about them recently, and I was like, these guys are like straight up like doing horrific things to survive, and the council members are gonna say no and let them continue just for what? Like for literally what? So
well, it worked in our favor, and we got the majority of the vote, especially with the stop being 2 votes. That helped out a lot for us.
Yeah, and we
didn't really convince anybody to sway. Like the people that we thought would go no ended up going no for the most part.
But we had made friends with enough people.
Right, there were just a couple that were the
the swing voters voted in favor of us.
And then the password or the key.
At the tolling of our sacred bell, I rise.
Yeah,
that was which super cool, actually wasn't a key. It was more of a hint to the key.
Right.
That was cool because every word was in a different language.
Yes.
So luckily enough of us spoke most of the languages to kind of piece
together
those words.
I forgot that someone had comprehend languages. Yeah, someone had.
And then we kind of figured out the rest of it through the spell.
That was me saying which the original council members, what races they were those. That's how that got passed down. But anyway, so Summit worked out, was great, and then the next episode started, and Sea of Stars was back.
And he killed Selene.
Before that, we had, or maybe after. It was after, but yes, we thought that Sea of Stars was alive because we did the fight in the thing.
And he stole the bag of holding because Dirge was in there.
Right.
Yes.
And this is when I have in my notes, Sea of Stars is alive with a heart, and then Sea of Stars
Elegy was in
immediately after that with a broken heart.
Elegy was in there.
Elegy, no, Dirge was because he used Elegy in the fight. I remember him using the beam.
That was a big deal because up until that point,
it wasn't magical.
He never used it.
Right.
Ever.
That was 2 things I really wanted to consider going into that. I was like, Sea of Stars really has to change and not like this is me showing he's not in control for him to use Elegy.
Because he would never shoot that guy if Cloud wasn't free.
Not knowing
unless
anything,
he knew about Cloud. Yeah.
Not knowing anything about Sea of Stars backstory like that. That fight was super cool, just how it was set up, and then both mechanically and characterly to see like all those different things because we recognized at the end that it was Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
So then to kind of back on the fight and see like he summoned this thing and he's like doing all this random stuff that we have never seen him do before.
I think
it was spooky.
That's my favorite image. Besides, I really like the Lady Risa like destroying the like shield hero off the fireball.
Even though Austin has no idea who she is and will ask every time we bring her up.
But
I just don't remember her. I just remember what she did.
Every time.
Someday when I have
every time.
But like that image of him holding up Elegy and then it blowing back his hood and seeing the fucked up face, I really love that image. But cool. And then so you got the bag of holding back.
We didn't let him go. He escaped because he could.
Right.
Hawk was the only one that could really keep up with him. And at that point, he was just like fleeing. So it was like, we're not going to keep.
Yeah, because all he wanted was Dirge.
Oh, chapter 30 was Blue Shirt Day.
Yeah, it was Blue Shirt Day. Yes, Selene was dead.
You found out. Yeah, you sent a note to what's his face, Archer, like, hey, warn her.
Yes.
But Archer was working with. He didn't give a shit, because he was working.
Archer was a traitor too.
He was working with Gristan.
Oh, we never found that out.
He died in the fight.
Because in my notes, I have that Selene gave me parchment, and I was like, "Is that magical parchment like the one that we got from Archer? Did she just give me some random paper? Because I didn't remember.
Gave you the note that Serico wrote to go find Serico and Sly.
That was the completing the circle. Yeah.
Okay. We had tried to get word to her. It didn't happen. Right. She could not hold off Sea of Stars, and Sea of Stars like brutally destroyed her. And
Joey was traumatized.
Painted the room with her blood.
Yeah,
and Joey wanted to leave the Fencian Isles, and we were like, so do we, buddy.
Yeah.
So do we.
But you gotta wait a second. Like, we got some stuff to do here. But this is when Zuskell started first scrying on people. So we got a scry on Spruce Leaf.
Yep.
Yep.
Saw the vision of Pratha, like, going through the golden arches in the distance. Oh,
Which was
is
Chalasar.
this what Honk's vision was about?
About what?
In Honk's vision, I have something about arches and like a city on fire. Is that what this correlates to, or does that
Oh,
not?
the prophetic. What Pratha said?
What? I
mean,
got a
Priska.
vision. Priska. I got
Hold
a
on,
vision
let
from Priska.
me. What episode was
One
that
of the
in?
lines in there is about arches and like a city surrounded fire. Or something
Let's see.
like that.
That could have also been White Anvil, though.
So the Hellas fissures erupting with charred forms. That was meant to be the calamity. That
that's
was
the calamity,
that was a
yeah.
portent of the calamity.
Right.
A lonely tower in a sprawling port city, surrounded by broken arches and scaffolding-clad structures. This might actually be a spoiler.
Ooh.
If you talk to who has Honk? Wait, everyone was there.
At Priska's?
Yeah.
Right.
Serco
Wait,
wasn't.
Not everybody. Yeah, not everybody at
Kit,
this.
Zuskell, and Honk were.
Yeah.
Okay, this
Sea of
is
Stars, who now
get your-
is with us, but
Get your notes out. I will say, over the course of the past 2 years of ruminating over this, a lonely tower in a sprawling port city, as you traveled to Dulcin, you saw the famous arches of the High Institute of Magic in Fisk.
I don't remember that at all.
The lonely tower being a certain professor's tower.
Oh, teachers.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was familiar to Zuskell. That's what that was. That was a portent of that. Forest still engulfed in shuddering, quaking, bending under perverse corruption. Yeah. Family and atonement. We found out about that. Love and loss.
Family
death.
and Atonement?
Yeah, that's
That was
Undead
Urian's
Prince. Undead Prince.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Actually, Family and
You have
Atonement, Love and Lost, Death, that's actually to do with Gristan, but it also was kind of doubled in the Undead Prince stuff. Also, I have in here, improvise a bit, really tickle their balls, so...
I don't remember what that was.
right.
that, what were you saying, Ronan?
But going back, I have another question for when we get to something later. But going back to those visions, we saw the Fey influence, so we knew at that point that Pratha is now in the Feywild, and like Spruce Leaf has gone to us, and like whatever, you know. That's
I think we saw her walking into Chalasar.
We saw the thing. Yeah, we saw the city.
Yeah,
and stuff
you
like
saw
that. We
her in the
golden-
wood, which I can't remember, the forest around it. Fuck, I can't remember. The
we saw
forest
the
around
Golden Isle
Chalasar.
of Mist?
No, in the
Oh, she's-
Feywild, the forest, or the impassable forest around Chalasar.
Oh, yeah, the Hills.
The Hildren Vale. She was walking through that.
saw the golden arches in the distance, and I think
Yeah, that's Chalasar.
Jericho-
The
yeah,
Golden
Jericho
Arches
can-
was Chalasar, yeah.
Or
You're right.
McDonald's.
We saw that. We saw that.
I know,
have
I
that
think you guys made
conversation
fun
as
of
well,
me
Pratha was hungry.
a year and a half ago.
And
But
then
yeah.
we also scryed on Sea of Stars.
Yes.
Saw that he was like flying over the sea, and then we saw like the dunes
that's
and
right.
stuff.
We also found out that Urian was the last descendant of the person who first closed the gates.
Yep.
Right.
You found that
Which
out?
didn't really
Because
come up.
that was in talking to Hyronax. That was in talking
Yeah.
to Hyronax when, so the Blue Dragon, Hyronax the Indomitable,
No, that's
who...
not when we talked to Hyronax.
Didn't it? Who told you that, then?
we talked to Hyronax in
30, right?
30.
We're getting to that. Yeah. No,
I thought it was
that's in this
30.
session. That's in this session. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 30.
Oh, maybe
That was the
Hyronax
very
did.
end.
I actually didn't write
think-
down that we met Hyronax.
You were like
think-
role-playing the whole time, so...
Yeah. I think in this session is when we saw Honk's mom unintentionally, kind of thing. Like
No, that was
maybe-
way back. That was in CSR saw that.
Oh, I thought that was in this scry that we like
It
zoomed
was both.
in
It was
on.
both.
Oh, you
yeah.
you saw it twice, yeah.
You
yeah.
saw it in the scry of
Sea of Stars had a
yeah.
dream that saw your mom, but then you
Right.
guys also did.
Right.
Yeah, Zuskell cried, but it didn't mean anything because she didn't know what your mom looked like.
And I didn't.
Yeah, and
put that
Sea of Stars
together.
didn't either when he saw her.
Yeah,
I used
exactly.
all my brain power for Naudri. After that, it was like, I don't care who these people
Yeah.
are at this point. We'll figure it out when we get to it.
So yeah, Order of the Blue Dragon, basically, that was a long conversation with a lot of politicking on Serico's part, but at the end of it, Serico got the aid of the blue dragon because he was going to go back and make sure that the blue dragon was in charge of Midir instead of the Demont family.
Yeah, because Serico hated the Demont family because they basically drove his people into poverty and basically enslaved them. So he was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna do whatever I can. Well, there was a lot going on with
there was
Serico was like, nothing bad really happened to him. Like, it wasn't about vengeance, it was about justice.
Yeah, it was about the altruism, in his eyes.
His village survived, like,
it wasn't
like, nothing bad really
personal.
happened to him. He was just like, this isn't right.
It was just that cause, which I really like about it, because that's like, that diverges from typical character tropes.
Oh, and Sea of Stars is 100% vengeance. Like, it was they were two opposite characters.
I liked how they were foils of each other.
Also,
you got Dragatha the Fang. And
this dragon was hoarding onto it because apparently the evil dragon, whose name I never remember.
Yes. Well, and Glimmer entrusted it to Hyronax.
No,
the evil dude entrusted it to him to hold on and safeguard and not give to other people.
I didn't catch that.
Olgiathrax, Hyronax let on
said something like, the blue dragon said something like, I'm not, like, I don't work for him, kind of thing. Like, I don't know why he would entrust it to me. Like, I'm going to do basically like what I want to do.
Yeah, in Hyronax's eyes, it was all about, he didn't care about the blue dragon's hoard is not about financial gains, it's about their information and the people that they collect. So he had all these powerful individuals and knowledge, and he didn't give a shit about Olgiathrax's war that he wants to start. He didn't care that he wants to be king, because in Hyronax's eyes, especially after talking to Serica, he was like, I'm gonna be a king at this point in history anyway.
If this guy succeeds, I'm already gonna be in charge.
I don't care about this fragment of a dead dragon, like, who was a kid to me, like, thousands of years younger
Glimmer's
than I am.
an extraordinarily young dragon.
Yeah, like,
especially
she would be
compared to Olgiathrax.
Yeah, like, she'd be adult or maybe early ancient, but still, that's compared to the older ones, like,
well, because he's
Hyronax,
basically a god.
Yeah, Olgiathrax is up there. Like, he can ascend, basically. But anyway, we'll get to that later. So yeah, that was the outcome of this.
Where I got, and I made a note of this, I got Zuskell to promise not to kill Naudri. So no matter what happened, Honk really had like a serious conversation with her that was like, hey, I don't know what's gonna happen when this goes down, but I don't want either of you to be killing each other, so I need you to promise that you're not gonna kill Naudri. And she promised that she would not killing Naudri. So I made sure to note of that, because I'm like, will hold this against her if this comes to blows and she does something. I will stick out in my mind.
I really like that. And there was the I think it was Hyronax that told you about Urien, because he was the only one old enough in the Isles to know about Reliant Ovaris closing the Isle of Mists. Like, he wasn't there. I think he came to the Isles after that from, I don't know, the times are loose in my head, but I think he told you about that. Like, there's still one survivor, because I think you knew the name Dovaris somewhere, and you knew it on the tomb, but I don't think you knew that it was Urien's last name until he told you. We knew Dovaris from, like, when we were researching the council. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, you guys left Hyronax's place, and it was successful.
Scried Urien found out that
we knew that Urien was a lead that we could get to figure out how to activate this thing. Because I don't know if we had gone at this point to the temple.
We did. We went to the temple and tried to say the words, and nothing happened.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We messed around with the temple. We couldn't figure out how to do it, so we found out from the blue dragon that this dude is related to the line that like did the whole thing or whatever. So we scried on him to find out where he was, because we didn't know where he had gone, and we found that he was like chained up, captured.
Also scried on Sea of Stars again and saw him in the desert castle.
Got him in the desert castle
with
and then
Honk's mom in front of him.
How did you find, I can't remember how the hell you found Urien.
We tortured Serico. You tortured the guards.
That's right.
Because he was like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go back and they won't have been tortured. Because I'm going to go back in time and not do it.
Exactly.
Majorly, like, that was like, we had to hide bodies because that was intense. That was
right. That
was
big.
Brutal. Like, I broke out. Brutal. I pulled out all the stops for that one. I'm getting
then,
results.
Yeah,
I remember
and then
that scene where you like had their faces, like both of us, we were like holding their faces up to the thing of
That
the
was
wall so they
fucked
could
up.
look at each other and be like, "See this? This person's gonna die if you don't say."
And then I was like, I'm gonna pull you apart, and if your answers don't match, one of you's gonna die.
It was crazy.
that was so messed up. So yeah, that was the end of that session, was Hyrenax, and then 31.
This one I got
interrogation.
touched. This
31
one I
was
got
the
touched.
interrogation. You got touched?
Oh no, that's the other campaign. But I have in here.
Oh
that
yeah,
I
that's
looked-
mommy touch.
Right, that's
Yeah,
Mommy's.
that's right. But Glimmer talked to you.
This is the thunder from the thing and Glimmer.
Yeah,
like,
Glimmer
speaking to me.
talked to you with Dragatha, which is cool. I think that was an idea that came up close to the session. That wasn't always a plan for her to slowly start manifesting, but I like the idea of her slowly manifesting as you gain more fragments.
That was also when we found out that something's up with Jazwaraz. Like, he didn't just pass on to the afterlife. Like, something more is going on with him.
Yeah.
It's because I would always ask like about if he was
Jazwaraz,
like
yeah.
around, if we could see him and stuff, and she was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, maybe like
He's doing
I
well.
think
electric stuff."
if you ever restore her and she ascends to a god, he's gonna be like a solar or something. He'll be like an angel of her.
I
asked
can't,
about the other
can't
dragons,
say,
and we learned
but I
that
have thought
we are
about
like
that, I will say. You what? What, Renner?
learned that because she asked about like other dragons or stuff, like if we have to be on the lookout for like other things, and she said that we were safe in the Isles, but
Yeah.
gonna prepare us as we get closer and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Then we broke
And,
Urian out of jail.
Yep, broke him out of
Break him out
jail.
of jail.
Totally didn't explore. Like, Rustin was in there, and he could have told you all about how the calamity
Gristan
and
betrayed
everything,
Yeah.
all the bombs that were
We-
about to go off in the city. So that was fine.
Serco was like, I'm getting in, getting out.
Yeah, and
You know,
it worked.
Just like
and-
the old days.
yeah, that was fun to set up because I set up a like sight system on all the tokens
With
for
the
the
vision
guards.
cone?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was. Yeah, I think you kind of cheesed it with Serico, but it
Well,
was still
then-
cool. It was still cool.
Because we
Yeah.
got the greater invisibility on him, and then he just Metal Gear Solid like went
Right.
through like systematically taking out all the guards.
Yeah. So that was cool. So anyway, that was that session, and then fuck, that was a long session. After that, you guys.
we had to go.
Oh my
back
gosh!
to the tomb. We had to go
The
back to
tomb,
the
ground
tomb
tomb.
to get the
Yep,
bell.
and then
Get the
we
bell.
brought Urian with
We
us.
brought
Thank
Urian.
God, we brought him with
Convinced him
us.
to come with us down.
That was the
to
wild
temple.
card. I did not expect that. I'll talk about that more.
Was-
We're almost to the end of our recap, everyone.
Once he got there, went to the tomb with the coffin and stuff like that with the bell, and then this thing appeared,
The
like this
ghost.
ghost of this
The ghost
first.
of Reli and Dovaris, yeah.
And it's because Urian, who was his lineage, was with us, he handed over the key to the Isle of
Yeah.
Mist without a fight,
Yeah.
and we got to avoid that, which was great.
And then we rang the
And we
bell.
all were like, imagine if we opened this.
Oh yeah,
we
we
were
would have
level-
gotten annihilated.
We were level like 5. It's just like
We were already hurt. at that
avatar of
point.
the first Dovaris pops up and like attacks us in his tomb.
Because if
Yeah.
I remember, he was like a Death Knight or something adjacent to
Uh,
a Death Knight or something.
Kind of. I homebrewed my own thing, but
Yeah.
he had legendary actions and legendary resistances. He was
Yeah.
like,
Done well for us.
yeah,
we would have.
it was that
Going
was
from him
so
to
clutch.
the fish dude, we would have been screwed. We would not have been getting the
I don't
crossword.
even know if we would have made it through that first guy.
No,
I think you could have.
Had
I
the numbers on him, but
Yeah.
we were super like
yeah. Let's
Been
let's
rough.
get to the end of the recap and then I'll talk about it.
Yeah,
'cause
we
there's
get the
some-
bell
yeah.
from him.
the bell
Bring
would
it
go
at
back.
the
it.
the time cops try to stop us one more time.
In the Isle of
Um,
Mists.
in the
Yeah,
Isle of
the
Mists.
Lawkeeper came back, and then that was so interesting because I had a table. I made my own Feywild time skip
Yeah.
table just in case because I knew I didn't want like 10,000 years to pass or whatever. But yeah, you guys, Kelkor went through with all of his Fey people.
Well,
And
we
then-
hesitated a bit too. 'Cause
Yeah.
we were like, "Who's all
Mhm.
coming in?"
Yeah, and that was
Right.
clutch because you guys went in and the city had been a month in disarray already.
Yeah, and I knew
Um,
that was Serico's last session, so I knew
Yeah.
I was going in no matter what, and this would be the it
It's-
for me.
I knew that I did not want Honk to go in, but wanted to like feel out how the other members were, because Honk would end up doing
Yeah.
whatever everyone else kind of thought. Like if Zuskell and Kit wanted to go, he had been traveling with them since the beginning. Like they were the only party members that consistently had. He just got back Nadri because Kelkor stuck to his promise and gave us
lowered the
Nadri
blockade.
back. Lowered the blockade.
That's
so
right.
We had
yeah. You could teleport
that
now.
goal that Honk was working for the whole time so far had been accomplished. So if Nadri was like, "Nah, I'm not going in," and nobody else was, Honk didn't have the best relationship with Seriko and Sly.
Oh yeah.
It was like
Seriko was designed to be a dick.
Right. So it was like
it worked.
There was no attachment there to kind of follow and make sure that they were okay, like they were doing their own thing. It always felt like two separate parties. Which was great. That's
kind of by
because
design,
it was like like both groups had their own goals, but it all lined up and meshed really well.
Yeah, well,
and then we got to this point, and it was like the divergence of.
We had worked together from the beginning. We're like, we're gonna use this party. Like we're gonna use them. We don't care.
Yeah. That was big.
Well,
I think. The three of us designing those characters, that was good. Yeah.
Really worked out in terms of mechanics. There was just no like the three of us weren't like, oh yeah, we got to go make sure they're safe. Like we got to go.
It was a very professional relationship.
Right. It was like, okay, this is what you guys want to do. We have our stuff now. We're good. Like, see you later. Nice working with you.
It was a nice change of pace because so often in D&D it devolves into like the found family thing where like everybody's always super emotionally important to each other, and it was nice to just play a character that's like, I'm only here because we have mutual goals.
Right.
And beyond that, I don't.
It's always
care
like the extremes of like, we're all like super tight, or none of us get along, and we're all like pre-conflict animosity kind of thing. And this was a
among
nice
the bones of the
like,
second age.
Yeah. And this
but like even
like
the
a nice medium of like, we're associates, we're gonna work together, but
even
don't need to be
even the current party, like I love Honk and Sea of Stars and all of that dynamic. But I still, in my heart, feel like Sea of Stars and Cloud could stay at the vineyard forever, and the rest could leave, and no one would care. And Castor could leave, and Kit can go do her own thing. Like, I see a bunch of different groups who, it's beneficial, and I think Kit has some way to go to get closer to people. Or whatever. But anyway, we can talk about that.
Yeah, Sea of Stars is not very emotionally attached to anybody in the party.
Except for Cloud,
Well, she's not a member of the party. She's an NPC.
Anyway,
he likes Honk from a friendship perspective, but it's a very
we want to hash out party dynamic a little bit, but
but anyway, at the end of this session, also 31 was
Zuskell. Compass.
That's right. You guys learned about Everard's Compass
and the stakes of temporal binding.
Right, in the stakes of temporal binding, you learned all about time travel. So basically, I gave you ways that Seriko could come back.
Yeah, I didn't want him to though. I designed him to be a very short-term character.
Yeah.
I just not sustainable.
In the best way. No, it felt like he really had like
for a campaign
short-term goal, and it was accomplished. His arc was short, but it really worked well. I think he really had a good story.
Yeah, it was like in Bones. If Bones continued, I could have seen Zygon ending. Like if Raynar, instead of going through, killed Zygon, and or something else happened. I don't know. Or like Raynar switched sides, but Zygon died, and then Zygon was replaced by someone more amiable. Like I could see that being. Like Zygon being useful for that arc as a character, like how Seriko was. Anyway,
Seriko was way loyal to the rest of the party too.
That's true. That's true.
Like he went to places that the core original party would never go.
That's
like
totally
he kind of showed like even though the core party are bad people, they're not nearly as bad as they could be.
Right. Because to him, it's not heartlessness, it's altruism. Yeah, he has this goal and this.
Well, he's like the ends justify the means, and it was interesting to show. He really defined the moral barriers of the rest of the party.
I think that's
by
accurate,
the party being like, we don't want to be like that guy. Like we'll go far, but not that far.
Yeah. But yeah, at the end of the session also was Seriko and Sly went in, learned about chronomancy from the chronomancer, and then outside we had Nadri and Honk who were meeting, reuniting, and then Zuskell had the Afterstride Shroud finally, and this unlocked Kaldrat's like last form of development. because I kind of view it as him slowly, as she gains levels, he gets closer to having all of his like mindfulness back, kind of. And he told her, one of my only notes for this session was the quote, in life my name was Matthias, and that was the big reveal that he was Matthias. And I think you guys guessed it.
I think I had figured it out before Tara did.
Yeah, Tara didn't. I think everyone except Tara did.
Because I was reading through the Vespin Arcanum book, and I was like, this guy sounds so familiar. Like,
yeah. I wanted him to be Matthias as a character, to be a foil to typical necromancy and liches, but I had to start it off as slightly manipulative because that's how her arc needed to progress, kind of. But as she became more self-aware, so did he, kind of thing. I don't know. I like playing with that.
Super interesting that Nadri gave it over so willingly.
That was quick.
Shocked as a player. See that, but it made me feel much better about the course of action that we were going. I was like, I do not want them to fight. And it was a really nice scene for him to just like immediately, like, she asked for it and he was just like, just took it off and handed it to her. I was like, here you go.
Yeah, I like that. I did a lot of thinking about Nadri. I mean, I've been thinking about Nadri at that point for 2 years. It's like, this is like, I can draw it out, but ultimately the biggest and best part of all of the build-up is the payoff, and if the payoff is satisfying like that, I mean, that just that makes the journey worth the end. Yeah.
I was also very surprised that the Chronomancer just kind of gave us the information about how to break time.
Yeah, that was some thought too.
This guy's a Chronomancer. He should be trying to like preserve the flow of time, not like break it and everything.
Yeah, I think my justification for that was, and don't worry if anyone's watching, we're still going to get to the end of the recap, but that I justified that through like, I think Seriko and Sly would have found Chronomancers, but they would have been so scared about messing with time. But now there's this Chronomancer who was kind of cast out by other people of his ilk, and who went to the Feywild so that he could study Chronomancy without worrying about it, because time flows differently there.
Yeah, that is true. He wouldn't really worry about time because he's in the Feywild, and time's meaningless there anyway.
Right, and he doesn't really give a shit either. Like, he wants to find out what happens, but he's not powerful enough. But Seriko and Sly are. Like, Sly could cast it, and Seriko could withstand it. Mm-hmm. Like, he had the fortitude.
He refined his body to the perfect killing machine. So he can endure the time stream.
It was really like Vince Glortho and Gozer. Like, it was, or not Gozer, fucking Zool. It was like the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper was them. And anyway, that was the end of that session. We started off session 32. Seriko and Sly came back after a month of being in the future, future where Gristan fucked everything up, caused the calamity because he had found a shard of creation. Because it was his shard of creation that Urian stole, so he needed a shard of creation to summon the calamity, make Estebria rise again, and so he went for the Mantle of Bones, which was in the Undead Prince, which is where Sea of Stars was. Yeah, and also there, which Seriko and Sly knew, was Everard's Compass, because the prince had been collecting important items and been building up this army of undead to, whatever. Undead stuff.
We had gone back several times to see if there was any way that we could stop it.
Yeah, it was really Doctor Strange in Infinity War.
With the other party.
Yeah, it was totally Doctor Strange in Infinity War, like went back so many times.
We saw every possible timeline.
Yeah, and the only one was for them to come back and go to get Sea of Stars, and then,
Well, and we needed the party, because we couldn't do it by ourselves. We weren't strong enough.
When we go travel from... Urian, I think, teleported us
into the desert.
Isle of Mist to the desert.
He was still there. Yep.
And we traveled to the castle, and that whole scene, took up like the majority of, I think, if not all of the session.
It was the whole session, yeah.
Yeah, the fight was pretty short. It was mostly just the scene afterwards. Well, maybe no. It was about 50-50.
Oh, because the time travel was at the end of this session.
Oh, the time travel. That time travel is at the end of 32. Yeah, 32.
Yeah, this session.
A matter of time. Yeah. So you guys went
there.
Yeah, do it, Ronan. Yeah, there you go. You have the personal stake in it.
Go through the castle, and like we're traversing this like super like creepy kind of like sandstone castle thing, descending down, and hear this like ballroom like masquerade music playing and stuff. And we get down there, and there's all these like couples dancing and things like that, and we see this own prince dude there. And I don't think at that point we had seen the maybe we did right away see the people in the background.
Your mom led us to the ballroom.
Yeah, you saw your mom immediately, but she didn't recognize you. I don't think.
I did see her immediately. I forgot about that because I was shook. But yes, we saw Honk's mom immediately, and that already put me on edge, and I did not like that. And like I tried to talk to her a little bit, just like she didn't recognize. Like it was blank. There was nothing.
Yeah, she was controlled by the prince.
We get down there, and the prince, this part I blacked out for. Like I don't know, there was conversation happening, and he's like talking to us about things. Please take over.
The prince was there. He had Cloud with him on the throne.
Right. Yeah, she was his queen. Yeah.
Yes. He also had Zuskell's sister.
And behind him there was like three chained up things.
Yeah. Your mom. Kit's mom.
Kit's mom, yeah.
And that's it, I think.
Yeah, it was the three of them.
Well, Zuskell's lost sister.
We didn't know at the time. It was just like a shorter gnome person.
Right, as you walked in.
She's a gnome,
it was too far.
And then the prince was like, hey, you guys could be immortal. Like, you don't have to worry about like life. And like the calamity's not gonna and the calamity's not gonna matter because you're gonna be immortal anyway. You'll survive it. And then we were like, bruh, no.
Yeah.
And then we fought him. Serico kicked him into the well, which actually made him stronger.
Yeah, there was a well of souls that healed him.
That scene was so good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Seeing him like sprint up and like shove him like Hercules style into the
that was great.
Well, you Sparta kicked him in.
And Sea of Stars was there, and he had his wraith there, so you guys were fighting them.
Oh yeah,
and then
I was so okay because we had been planning Sea of Stars coming back.
Yeah, Austin and I had been planning that.
I was so worried that you guys were gonna kill him and not like redeem his soul, and that he was just gonna die, and then I would lose him forever. I'm like, no, please, this is one of my favorite characters I've ever made.
We end up being triumphant. Yeah, the three people in the back, because we started to break apart the well. There was something like that. We got tipped off that hurt him. We started like
the well was sustaining him.
It kept reviving him.
He kept getting replenished. So we're like, we could keep fighting these things, but they're just going to keep coming back.
Yeah.
We started breaking apart the well, and that ended up taking him out. But it also took out like all the souls that were there.
Every time we killed him, he would drain the souls of the people up on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, what I had tried to do is I tried to break the chains on his mom.
That's right. On Kit's mom.
Get her separate from them, Honk's mom, to get her separate from them, because then I knew, okay, I'm gonna start breaking apart this well, and so at least then if he's not siphoning her energy, maybe she'll survive. I wasn't planning on it, and I'm glad it didn't happen, but that was like in the moment.
It could have happened if Serico hadn't pushed him into the well.
Totally.
So I'm glad with how it resolved, because we defeat him, all the souls, and like in the last moment of these souls, we get like a super cool like cinematic split screen with Honk's mom and Kit's mom talking to each of them. And I want to know about Kit's mom's line. I don't know if we'll get any insight into that, but I need to know what's going on with that line that she gave. But Kit's mom goes to him that you're nothing like your father, and then Kit's mom to her like,
Honk's mom said you're nothing like your father.
Yeah, and then mom says that she's exactly like her dad, which we're like, Husk.
Right. I had wrote 2 lines about Honk's mom, because then Honk said to his mom, "Thank you and I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Or she like disappeared.
And then Zuskell, the story went that teacher had used basically modified memory to erase the memory of.
She didn't even know it was her sister.
Right. Of his most horrible kill, like. Because in his eyes, like, yes, killing the family is bad, and now she knows that, but she might find that out, but if, like, this is just the one thing, like, even Kraston Kane has a heart enough to know, like, murdering an infant is not a good thing. Yeah. So I have to not just delete the fact that I killed her, but if she's not here, Zuskell will know, so I have to delete the memory of her. And I think that hit Tara pretty hard. And
hit me hard. Well, I think we'll talk about this maybe a little bit later if we have time, but that hit me as a player super hard. I was like, wow. My arc for Honk had shifted. Now that he had Nadre, I needed like another focus for him, kind of. Yeah. So I was going to start getting into his, which was my intention from the beginning, to kind of stay into that like half orc stance of like his dad is like this lethal, brutal, like
trapped
killing
between two worlds
orc.
Yeah.
And he has the human side of him that got ripped from him early, and he didn't get to like keep exploring that. So he's always been a little bit more brutal. Yeah. And he saw the half orc, the council member, who was more like friendly and like political and like, you know, more of that human nature. He's not burly, he's more like spindly like a human is.
Right.
I was gonna go talk to him and like just have like a conversation with him, but then she said that, and that kind of switch in him that was like, oh dang, like I don't have to be that like ruthless person. So that's what I'm trying to explore.
Yeah, I'll talk more about that a little bit, but I did really like that. Yeah, let's get to the end of the recap. After that though, it was time travel time. Seriko went back. Austin had last minute. We did some last minute planning about going back in time. Austin had a really good idea, and we kind of fleshed it out together. That long story short, Seriko is the reason Kit's mom died, because as he's going back in time, he sees that him changing things made Kit's mom survive, and like the ripple effect. So he made it so that
they never met.
Right, yeah.
And Kit never went adventuring, so none of this ever happened.
It needed a reason to leave her town.
Yes.
Which was the fire that she caused, that she thought she caused, that exploded and killed all of her mom and everything like that. So she ran away.
Yeah.
That's the only reason she met Jazzle. Oh, that was so good.
I really like the image of him being in the background of like pivotal life moments of his character, like watching it happen to make sure that it happens a certain way. Like he's in the doorway when Kristen Kane's like killing Zuskell's family.
I want to see him in the arena. I want to see him in the arena in a picture, or I need to get it commissioned, of Seriko in the arena when Honk's dad is like destroying his mom, and Honk's just like crying, and Seriko's just like working on his watch, like about to go back, like making sure that it's fine. Yeah,
so good, and it seems so heartless, but it's not. It's really like he's making
to him it was the best thing he could ever do for people.
Making sure everything is lining up so that this could.
And it's interesting now. I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but it's interesting to see how, like, what the ripples are of that. My voice is cracked, but like,
because the world has improved. It's just
but it's also
what he had to do to get it to that point is like,
but like Vespin Arcanum changed to some degree. Like a few members. War never ended. It's been going on for another 20 years, and there's a lot. So anyway, we'll get to that. But
completely different.
So, but that did pave way for the next episode, which was the Plaguebringer.
Also, Kit knows that the explosion wasn't her fault.
It wasn't her fault, and that was huge.
Sly, I think, produced a letter.
Yes.
Seriko gave it to Sly a long time ago.
Together about it, like he had figured it out.
And when Kit opened it, it was the blueprints of the original design that her mom was working on. That Kit thought she messed up, caused the explosion.
Yeah.
So it's totally. I don't think this was planned, but Shannon had thrown away blueprints that she had. That was
crazy.
Like half an hour maybe earlier. Like Kit had thrown away her blueprints.
Yeah.
And then Kit opens this letter and she sees the blueprints in there again.
But the correct ones.
Correct ones with the letter that I forget what it's like, and it wasn't your fault or something like that.
It just said it wasn't
your fault. And then it had the recipe, That was crazy.
So good.
And
that whole session was so. This was like the last session we had before we took that like month. Oh, wasn't it?
Yeah, we took a break.
We took a little.
It was about a month. Yeah,
I think so. September 15th
after
to
32.
September 28th. No, that was a couple weeks, I think.
No. I'm thinking about from.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
session we fed into the big battle, and then we had to like kind of process everything over the past month or so. It was crazy.
Right. So yeah, so that's right. In the next session, which was session 33, which was the end of the Fencian Isles arc, and what I really all of the campaign so far, except for today's session, was your fight against Gristan. So you were in Zelazar in Finane. You talked to Gert, found out that there was something wacky where he couldn't see anything wrong with Gristan. There's some kind of enchantment, and that was kind of the last, at least in my eyes, the last nail in the coffin for you guys going after him.
Also, we found out that the wreaths were magical, so we were like, he's not. Something's up. And we already knew that Gristan caused the calamity.
The block. Yeah, we knew that Gristan was the lead of it all. Right, we knew that Gristan was not great. And I forget who kind of brought it up first, but we all took off the necklaces because we're like, maybe these are not good. Like Gristan.
I thought that they were like listening devices.
They were both. They were location. He could scry on all of you at all times and listen to you all. And that's how he got Urian. That's how he got Rustin, because he was listening when you guys were talking to Rustin about Rustin.
Yeah.
Rustin, as he was telling you his plans, like, I'm gonna go there early. He had guards waiting like outside after you left and got him.
We took them off because we saw we saw Gert had one on, and it was like, maybe this is not great. So we
actually saved our lives later.
Saved our lives for sure, 100%.
You guys would have. I think you guys would have died if that had not happened.
I think so. And this is again the next moment, the campaign that I was like, we're definitely like, we're gonna TPK. This is it. Like this, we're not gonna win this fight.
That was a big fight, and that was a 3-tiered fight. I've been wanting to do a multi-phase boss fight for a really long time, and he seemed like a good one because I didn't want him to just be like, "Ha, I'm powerful." Like, I wanted him to be like more and more corrupted. But anyway, so you fought him, and the city was being exploded.
Dais was up in the air.
Yeah, and the mountain was going to melt the city.
There was going to be a volcano.
Yeah, it was. Well, that was where Estebrio was going to be summoned, in the volcano. Well, it wasn't a volcano, it was a mountain, but that was like a portal to the abyss. So yeah, you guys fought, and Hyronax helped out because of Seriko. Hyronax showed up and grabbed Sea of Stars.
Was after time travel, so he was already king of Midir at that point.
Right. He showed up, and he was like, a friend of mine told me you could use some help right about now, and
it was really
an
dicey.
Old friend. Yeah.
It was really dicey. I think a lot of us got knocked out. A lot of us got super low.
I was fine for most of it, but
you were outside
at 2,000 feet.
You were
also
out
got
for like
knocked off
5 rounds. Yeah.
Once
that was huge.
I was also doing okay until that happened, and then that's when I was like, okay, like
because I was outputting so much DPS.
Yeah,
started getting hit a lot once you left.
This is this is a reoccurring theme.
Yeah, that's true.
Once if Sea of Stars gets taken out, the fight kind of goes downhill.
It's so good. Like, he can hit so hard from range. Honk is so good up close, and it really like.
And you can keep people away from me.
He is such a good tank. Honk is such a good tank. It's
of the enemy is so good because like I'm bashing from up close. You're nailing them from away. It's like you have to really choose.
And we're both so mobile that we can protect the other party members too.
It's really nice.
It's Hog trying to like control the battlefield with this huge mage there, and like he can just hit everybody from anywhere. Zuskell's super squishy. Kit's not super like.
Yeah, because Zuskell and Kit got in a really bad spot. Like they were in some bad AoE zones.
Right, and dude, it was rough. That was the closest Hog has come to dying since the forest fight where Jazaraz died. Double.
We also learned that the necklaces strangled people.
Right.
Yep.
So we found out afterwards that a lot of the council members died because they kept the necklace on and they were strangled.
Yep. We also learned that House Iberian is now in charge of Oxton, which was a big change.
Still.
Well, yeah. They didn't get ran out by the.
Yeah.
So we found that the total. We didn't really discuss the council people earlier, but the total One of them was a turtle. He survived.
Venture Prodigal.
Kurt died. My half orc.
Amiara died.
Amiara DCL died. Yeah, the Kalashtar. But yeah, everybody else survived, and yeah, Urian was basically put in charge of the Isles and has been cleaning up. Helped you guys during the. We went to a time skip. Well, you guys were given by King Iberion a vineyard, which we talked about.
Yes.
I knew that the party was wanting a stable home in Alira, probably because the Isles suck.
And we had been
tired of the
collecting. We had been collecting NPCs, and we really needed a place to put them all.
Right, especially with Cloud now, and Joey, and Nadri.
And we
you
didn't want
guys-
to put
yeah.
Cloud and Joey in danger 24/7 by carrying them around with us.
Right.
We all were like, we're
passive
done
income.
here. Yeah, we're done here. We left like as soon as that fight was over. We like steamrolled through kind of the ending stuff. And we're like, we're done. Like, get us out of here. We don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, because we had spent
quick.
so much of our time in the Isles was frustration and
Yeah.
like dead ends.
Right.
Yeah.
So like we were like,
We're done. We don't. And it's so like it was great for while we were there, but it's so like isolated from stuff, and it's like we don't want to be here anymore. Like, we're done. It's over.
Yeah.
We did what we had to do. Everything's fine here. Let's get out of here. Figure out something else to
I
do.
have learned a lot from that arc. And it informs how I've planned the next arc and how I'm formulating the first arc of the Solaris campaign that I'm gonna run.
oh yeah.
Because I mean, I have been thinking about that because I find myself, especially in the Fencian Isles arc, I planned a grand story and then kept feeding you things, which was fine, but I felt dissatisfied at times because I didn't write down all my plans. I just had it all floating in my head because I didn't want to railroad you guys. And I felt like if I put things in stone, then I would railroad you guys. And I like this arc a lot. And like, as we've talked about it, I'm very fond of what happened. Though I remember we were all pretty fed up with the arc by its end.
Just
I
I don't
think
think
the
the arc
thing-
per se. I think it was just not that it dragged, but it felt like we didn't
You're kind of
know what
aimless.
to do. I
Yeah,
guess.
you were kinda
like a lot of
aimless.
times we would just be like following things and it wouldn't end anywhere, which is no fault to anybody. It just like we didn't get like
Right. It's hard when
Yeah.
the
to explain.
characters don't have a vested interest in the story because of choices they've made. Like, they didn't, for instance, like, so the story. Let's go through the story of the arc, shall we? Well, are we done with that? I guess that's pretty much it. We went to a time skip.
Well, and then we get the vineyard, and then today's session happens.
and then we
There's a
we
2-year time skip.
Everybody does their own stuff. We kind of do our own activities, and then
We
we're-
actually spent a ton of time designing and laying out the vineyard and like
and
everything
everyone
around
really
it.
came with like ideas of stuff they wanted to do. Like,
Yeah.
we really
Yeah, downtime was actually very eventful.
Yeah, I'd been asking the party for a couple weeks. Yeah, like a few weeks, and like I PM'd you guys too, just to like keep up and try to make sure you guys had like questions and things that you wanted to do, because it was going to be. I didn't have a set time. I just knew that you guys were going to want to do a lot, and for every 6 months there would be a level up, basically.
We ended up gaining 4 levels in whatever we wanted.
Yeah,
and
ended up level 15.
And at
One
this
per
point,
star.
I had kind of accepted my character's plural role in the party as being being the driving force of the party. So I was like, during the downtime, I was making sure to like set up connections with NPCs and
Yeah.
like get information flows started.
Very much of that mindset anyway.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I
that's what you
love that
love
shit.
to do. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could just like live at that base and like command
Oh,
that
dude,
base
I
for the
would
whole
play-
campaign, and you would love it.
I would play an entire campaign of faction and base management.
Literally none of us care
I
enough
live
about
for
it.
that.
Like, we're all.
I
we're
do
all
too.
just,
It's
how
like
much money-
Austin and I both love it, and then the rest of you are just like, nah, let's go kill
Great,
something.
because then you guys can just take charge and you come up with ideas,
Yeah.
and we're like, yeah, that
But
sounds good, or like, no,
you-
that's not great.
You
Like,
should
what do we want
see
to do
how much
instead?
I put into the handout for, like, I have macros in there of our monthly income. Like
saw.
you click on the
It
button
was
and it
intense.
rolls our
It
monthly
was intense.
income.
Yeah, that's so good.
Rest of us are just like,
Um,
how much money do we make? Tara and I spent like half an hour designing our bedroom that Hawkins
That's true.
claimed.
That's
While
true.
you were designing your bedroom, I was like crunching our expenses and revenue, and I was like, okay,
Mhm.
what's our net profit per month?
Yeah.
Sin is doing accounting in real life for our D&D game.
Yeah.
I know that was awesome.
Great.
So yeah, that's basically the recap. That's episodes 0 through 33, and that leads us to today's session, which hopefully you would have seen before you saw this. Anyway, I hope you like that. We're gonna talk about spoilers now. I mean, that was all spoilers, but
Oh, it was all spoilers.
we're gonna go.
Spoilers, yeah, if you
we're gonna
didn't
go
watch it.
spoilers for them now. What do you guys want to know first?
Why did Griston?
Yeah,
be
I think that's
evil?
really my biggest thing is like,
Okay.
what, give us the Griston lore.
So, and this is again, it was very it was just happenstance that you guys didn't come along.
Wait,
the
before
clues,
that,
and yeah.
I was gonna say something about the arc that I found was that we had so many factions and
Yeah.
directions that we could
Yeah.
go, but no ins on them.
That's a good
Like
that's a
we
good
had
point.
the Consortium, the Armada, we had the Order of the Blue Dragon, we had Urian, we had all of this, but
lot
then
of
we
that was
had
also-
no ins. Like we had no way to start engaging with them.
Right.
Once we were in, we had a lot to do. Like once we got
also-
in with Kelkor.
That's
Most
true.
of the campaign, we didn't trust most of those factions. We didn't trust the Consortium.
That's true.
We didn't touch the Armada.
Yeah.
We thought they were both evil. We didn't want to work with them. The only person we really trusted was Gristot.
I
We
think
were like
yeah.
following him for
But
a
he
bit.
didn't give us any. Like
Oh,
there-
they're right. That was the only, like, I guess we were like to do the best for the Isles or whatever, and we thought Griston would want us to do that, but turns out he does not want that.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't until we kind of settled on the fact that the Vespin Arcanum is evil, and then we made contact with Kelkor that we really shifted. Because we didn't want to deal with any of them. We didn't want Armada, Consortium, or Blue Dragon. Those were like the main three.
Yeah.
And we had Urian
Right.
who wouldn't tell us anything about anything because he was shady, and we didn't really have an in with him.
I
And I
think
think another thing was there was no face for each faction,
That's true.
especially the Consortium. We didn't
was
have
nebulous,
somebody
yeah.
that's like, even if we wanted
and
to
you
join
still
the
don't
Consortium,
really, you know.
even if we wanted to join the Consortium, we would have no idea how to go about that.
Yeah.
Only people we knew from that are people we didn't like.
Right.
Honk
Especially
didn't want
Honk.
to talk to any of them. Right.
Yeah.
Like Honk would not want to be engaging with them in like friendly business.
Yeah.
And
I think-
the Blue Dragon, we had I feel like that was the one that I was toying with the most.
Yeah,
and
because we had an into it with the two
Yeah.
people that we met. Like we
I
had
forget
a
which
way
character
to
you
get
were
in
at the
on it.
time, but your character was not on board with that, so we kind of just
Well, he hated magic. So
Right.
we kind of just let it fizzle out because that was our best. We had like a place where they met. We knew like how to contact them, but we didn't want to tie ourselves to a Blue Dragon and then be in debt to this organization. We wanted to maintain autonomy with ourselves and not sell
Right.
ourselves to a faction, and that was where we were struggling with the most.
Yeah.
we were trying to
that's
do a
what-
we were trying to do an independent run, but all there was NCR and
That's
Yeah.
that's what Kelkor gave
True.
to us. Kelkor was the one that was like, "Hey, you guys go do this. You don't have to like
Yeah.
align with me. This will
I
help me
think-
get this, and then I will give you that." And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's what we want. That's what. works
And I
for
think
us.
I think part of that too was a me thinking of you guys as independent and presenting factions not as ways to ally but as tools. But you guys instantly went to factions, which is cool. But it was just like we were both slightly off. So when I was presenting things, it was causing issues with your planning and making you more conflicted. Whereas
I think on our
yeah.
end, we felt like we needed support. Like we
Right,
felt like,
sure.
at least for me as a player, I felt like these were huge issues that our party could not tackle.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
all the
We need
problems felt
somebody to-
so
right.
big.
They were big
That was the
until
big problem.
yeah, and credit to Austin's point earlier about when Kelkor finally gave you the message and was like, "Hey, you're doing stuff. Let's actually talk about this."
Right.
Then I think that was the turning point, and that's
Was
when
the
the
turning
arc
point,
really started
and
going.
And that's when we picked up speed. We really started like getting stuff
Yeah.
together. We were hitting our stride for sure.
Yeah,
But
'cause
before
I
that, it
was
was like no party is giving us anything. Like
Yeah.
we don't want. We
Right.
need help, and none of you are helping us.
yeah,
What I tried to do was break down the blockade into smaller parts, but it was really hard to do that because everything was so tied up with high ranking
And
people.
It's good because that was that intrigue and that like those elements of we don't know how to proceed.
But we couldn't get in on a low level. We could only get all the way in. We couldn't kind of engage with each faction. We either had to go balls deep or not at all.
That's what made it so conflicting too, is that we didn't know how all these organizations work together. Like everything was hush hush. Like we didn't have
there was no figurehead. Like this is what a member of the consortium is like.
Yeah, and that was
super vague and for a good reason. Like it kept that intrigue of the campaign, but we weren't. That was the struggle of trying to kind of worm in.
I definitely see why that became the issue, or not necessarily issue, but what was holding you guys back.
I don't think anything was like an issue. I don't think there was any like, major downside to this arc.
A lot of the reason that we ended up going with the Order of the Blue Dragon is because we had a example of what being part of that was like.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like with the consortium, we have no idea what joining the consortium entails or the Green Armada, but we saw Softballs on Snow and we're like, okay, this is what we can expect by allying ourselves with this faction. Like these are going to be our responsibilities. This is how we should act.
He wants from us. This is what we can do. Right.
I think,
but with the consortium, we're like, this thing is an impenetrable like mess of alliances that we have.
It was so much bigger than I think like individual characters thought. It expanded so much more, and it was just like we only knew like the little snippets, and then
especially early on, and then as things developed,
like I kept trying to break it down into chunks. Like, okay, this is our short-term goal, this is our media, and having each problem like link itself, but it always ended up just being too big, like too big of a chunk that it was like we had to tackle it all at once when we wanted to split it up into smaller manageable chunks.
Once we got that conspiracy doc going and we kind of like broke things apart, I think that's also kind of when we started like hitting our stride, and we were able to kind of see like, okay, this is what we know, this is what we need to find out, who can we go to get this, and if we're not getting this, what else can we do to solve some of these issues and that kind of.
Although at one point we did hit like an actual brick wall. We had the only way, it was right before we met Rustin. We had reached a dead end on every single front, and we had no way to move forward.
When we lost the cats, I think that's like, and you feel it too in that session when the three survivors are riding the boat. Like listening back, I'm like, holy shit! Like, wow,
that was our only lead.
That
was our only lead, and it was gone, and we were banking no other idea
on that airship to try to like do something. I don't even remember, like some crazy.
We just wanted anything, literally anything.
And that
when that fell apart, it was.
I wanted to use that moment when they died as the example, because Mikhail saw the fairies that were nearby, but they'd fled by the time you guys arrived because they wanted to report to Kelkor. So Kelkor knew what you guys were at least doing, like going after the consortium, and I wanted to reward you guys, or at least give you something based on that. Like, I don't want any decision you make to lead you to a dead end. So that's, even though it felt like a dead end, Kelkor's eventual like message to you guys was from that, and that's what gave you that. And
what was juicy about that was the feeling of hopelessness was actually legit. Like at the end of the session, all the characters were hopeless and I was hopeless.
I know.
I was like, the campaign might as well end now. Like
I don't know what to do from here.
I really like, even though that's a sad thing to hear, but I know that's from a happy place of that's a cool story moment.
I was actually like in despair. I was like, this is it. We're done.
What happens? What
we
goes
might
from
as well
here?
just stop the campaign now.
Yeah.
That also then led, when we figured out what to do, made it feel so much more impactful. It's like, okay, now we're cooking with gas. Like now we have a plan. Now it
made it go a lot faster then, because we were like desperate to get any sort of direction.
And just ran with it. We're like, here we go. This is what it feels like. And once we got in the groove of it, it all fell into place, and we all.
Yeah, and it showed you how close to the truth you were. Yeah.
And we were like, okay, we got it now. We got the direction.
I feel the shift for sure. Like after once Neriko and Sly get introduced, and we kind of
there's that one session between it's the session when Seriko and Sly come, and you meet Rustin. Like, that's the one in between session where it's like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but there's something more happening, and I introduced Rustin because I was like, this is happening in the background. Here's something else to think about. Still, like, people are still exploding. Calamity. But then after that was when Kelkor talked to you and showed you that, like, there is truth in what you guys thought, and then that, I think that helped a lot.
Was so validating for like all of the thinking that we had been doing up. I was like, thank God our conspiring wasn't wasted. Like, Kelkor really validated all the time we spent planning.
Felt good. And there was still that element of concern, at least in my mind, like, okay, is this going to backfire on us? Which kept things interesting.
Oh, I knew that it would backfire. I was like, I just want something to happen, man.
But we kept moving. I mean,
ultimately, you guys, the route that you went, I mostly expected you to go with the Blue Dragon for help first, because that Glimmer Tug was your only, like, pull at some points, you know, like, that was when everything else had lost, you still had the tug. So I was like, maybe he'll go for that regardless.
But we didn't see that as related to the situation in the Fencing Isles. We saw that as, oh, it happens to also be here.
That's true, yes. And
Honk didn't care too much at that point. Like, he's still kind of like, but he didn't care about, like, it was like a side quest to him. It's like, okay, I'll do this because I should, but it's like,
I know
issues here, and I did not see them related either.
Yeah, and I feel like it would have been different too if the Blue Dragon people, if that fight had happened with Seriko instead of Sea of Stars, because they are the source of information and a Blue Dragon, and, like, maybe that could have been useful to Seriko. Maybe not. I mean, with the timeline, because it was way farther back.
Yeah, if there was a Blue Dragon and Seriko heard about it, he's like ancient being.
Right.
Probably knows about the Feywild.
Yeah. Some sort of information, but I don't know.
He does not trust the dragon at all.
Right.
It was only when he learned that the dragon used to be in charge of Midir that he really got on board with it.
Yeah. Anyway, Gristan.
Midir is over everything else.
Yeah, what's going on with Gristan?
Okay, so Gristan and his wife are from Shalasar.
He's a Fey?
They were, well, she was an Eladrin, he was a
Aasimar.
How are those called? Yes, an Aasimar. He was a one of the Plague Aasimar or whatever. The green ones. The ones that aren't the cool ones are the edgy ones. The other one.
Protector?
No, it's Scourge Aasimar, yeah. And that's what led into the, I took a literal sense with the Scourge and went for Plaguebringer later. But anyway, Gristan, they came to the Isles when Gristan was like, that's when he was elected. And his wife got super sick and went to the Feywild for a cure. And Shalasar fucked her, like, didn't heal her. And she came back, and so much time had passed in the Feywild that her disease had progressed to a point where she couldn't be healed. So she died, and Gristan blamed Shalasar for this. So he organized, at this point he was, I mean, this was in the past, but the Bloody Orphans had been wanting more power, and they'd been in touch with criminal organizations, with Gristan was also talking to, and he was like, hey, I'm tired of not being in charge. All these idiots can't make anything happen, and I can't support this city in the Feywild who killed my wife. And all of these, like, if the gate was open, well, that was the other thing. He couldn't get back to the Feywild because, to get to his wife, because the gate had closed. Or there was something. He couldn't because the counselors wouldn't just give him the damn keys. So he was like, help me overthrow this council. And as part of that, Kelkor was also trying to get to the Feywild for his reasons, which he was totally honest with you guys about.
Yeah, he was straightforward. His reasons.
He wanted to escape. He knew about Estebria coming back, and that was also in this session. I wanted to confirm that he wasn't fucking with you through Nelfira.
I had a feeling that I don't know why, but I had a feeling the whole time that he was 100% legit.
Yeah,
I think you were spot on. Is that he wants to be that arch-Fey kind of mindset, and just like the Fey in general. The contract, you know, they're very. their word. And
Absolutely.
if he said that that's all he wanted, and he committed to that, that's really all he wanted.
Yeah. And Gristan basically orchestrated the blockade so that he could starve the people and make the council members see that the Isle of Mist needed to be open. So
he
that
used us too.
Yeah,
he used us to do that.
and he used Kelkor too because he wanted Chalisar destroyed, but he didn't want to do it himself, and he knew that Kelkor would do it for free. So if he opened the Isle of Mists, if you guys open the Isle of Mists, he could just sit back and maybe detain a wizard, but ultimately you guys were going to find the Isle of Mists, and Kelkor was gonna get there eventually. Like, eventually the people would be starved enough, you know? And the part that was interesting is you guys siding with Kelkor instead of him meant that the consortium was a non-issue, because the moment Kelkor took down the Hex and teleportation could work, Oxton just wiped out the consortium.
Yeah.
But that was going to be a big, like, swashbuckling couple of sessions where you guys would have to, like, save a couple, like, Bisterbrock would be under siege by the consortium who's trying to take it over.
I feared that would happen.
Yeah.
And, like, that was in my mind. I was like, we're gonna have to deal with the consortium now. Green Armada's gone, now it's the big boys.
Yeah, so it was, the whole arc was, Gristan was kind of doing double duty, and Elistor, who you saw was the Eladrin prince, he was like, you have to save us, like, don't let the Isle of Mist open, but you gotta take down this blockade, like, Kelkor's trying to get in and fuck us up, you gotta save us. And he's like, don't worry, man, I'll get it. And then he just was content to let time pass, but once you guys started speeding up and Jurgen was helping, he was like, I gotta fix that. And Jurgen stole the Shard of Creation, and
he was gonna use.
Yeah, and the other thing, his means, so his first phase was just Gristan. That was just him. He had a little bit of latent magic, but
why the calamity, though?
Right, so that
if he wanted to destroy Chalisar only.
Yeah, so I kind of forgot about that as I was going through, but in order to set up the Hex, like, he was in a dark place and was reaching out to powers, whatever, and, like, there are cultists all around the world who do the calamity stuff, right? And I mean, just different demon princes and whatever. And somehow he got in contact with the Whispers of Estebria, and she, Lyssair Devine, basically said, hey, I'll give you powers, if you let me rise, and I'll bring your wife back. And to him, that was enough. Like, he was like, like, she could bring back, and he believed her, and whether there was merit or not, he didn't know. He was willing to put it all on the line, because, yeah, they were from the Feywild, and they spent so much time together there that it was like, you know. So I don't think you guys ended up seeing as much of that.
We didn't see any of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I
he
hope
didn't have a reason to share that to us, really. Like, that would be stuff that...
Well, it would be a giveaway. We wouldn't work for him anymore.
Right. And there were a couple. As I was planning the arc and going through each of the sessions, or as we were going through them, I knew that there would be moments where, like, if you wanted to engage with him further, like, hang out with him and ask about whatever. Like, he was important, but I was like, maybe they'd ask to, like, hang out a little more, or ask about him, or ask Artur or something, or Urian, like, hey, what's his family like, or whatever.
We never really saw Gristan as anything other than just an authority figure.
Right. Which I think that works to the arc's benefit and the planning's detriment. Like, I don't know, you guys, I wrote in my notes so many times that you guys just trusted him implicitly, which was cool as I was planning, because I got to give you hints kind of here and there, but mostly he was just being a good dude to you guys, because
I think we worked
he was manipulating
ourselves
you
into distrust of him. Like,
yeah,
I don't think we had any clues that really made us distrust him. We, like, worked ourselves up into that point where we got so paranoid. We were just like, you know what, it's Gristan.
It really came down to, like,
I'll see if I can find it in my notes.
We trusted Kelkor and we did that, and then he told us about Stan doing stuff. It's like, okay, we see the results of working with him. Kelkor has no reason to lie to us. Like, he mentioned
Yeah.
Gristan is doing the blockade stuff. Gristan is doing all these things. It's like, okay, well, yeah.
Right.
Really is we were down to like 2 parties. We were down to the consortium running everything, or Gristan, and it's like, okay, it's one of these two. It's like,
And from what we had seen of
wasn't
the
a lot of
consortium,
options.
they were not organized enough to run the whole
right.
Isles.
Right, exactly. And that's part of, I like how the arc ended up where they just got demolished, because you're right, like without Gristan's support and without Gristan being supported by the Flaming End, they were out of their league, and they were just trying to play with the big boys.
They were just the Bloody Orphans, but bigger. And the Bloody Orphans were way out of their league as soon as they set foot in the Isles.
Yeah, they had big dreams, and they tried doing big things, like they tried assassinating Vespin Arcana members, failed. I mean, they put Risa in a coma, but oh well. And she'll bounce
magic.
back. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
killed me and my crew.
Yeah, so the arc's interesting, and it was interesting watching you guys theory craft and come up with ideas and all your conspiracies. And you guys got so close so many times to what was, I mean, obviously you didn't know Gristan's intentions, but like intentions of Green Armada and Consortium and whoever was behind it. That was the other thing too. You guys probably caught it, but a couple times I said that, or like Kelkor said that someone hired him. Like he didn't know who, but someone hired him who was totally random. And I can't remember. There was someone else who said that. Like he didn't know who hired him. So I wanted it to be this figure. And yeah,
I thought it was the leader of the consortium.
Right.
I thought the consortium and the Armada were working together, not that they were working for the same person.
Right. It was, they were both working.
That's where we were for so long, is that
we're working
together as a unit.
Yes.
So at that point, we didn't distrust Gristan. We thought Gristan was the victim in all this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really weird. Like, who is leading the two of them?
Yeah.
Because they're working together. Who is in charge from those two?
Right.
Whose goals are really being.
Yeah, and I think Honk's history with the Bloody Orphans kept him from engaging with the consortium. For
sure, 100%.
Which I kind of abused a couple times. I was like,
Star wanted to get in with them so bad.
Right, and that was an interesting dynamic.
He was trying so hard to get in with the consortium.
Yeah. That was really cool to see, and I am proud of how I played Gristan. That he wasn't like, credit where it's due. I think you guys had no reason to believe Gristan was bad until, like, even your theory crafting that he was like far-fetched. Like you were reaching. Because he just presented it in such a good way.
Yeah. Where we were like, oh yeah, of course the only good guy we know is the bad guy.
Yeah. And
then we started to believe it and we're like, wait.
Yeah, and I kind of expected, like, Zuskell is inherently skeptical, Ronan is inherently skeptical, so I almost expected there to be some disbelief or some like scry on Gristan or check in on him, like go invisible, something.
I had those thoughts, but Honk doesn't as a character, and I didn't have anything to act on for it. Like, we had no reason to.
Right, absolutely.
It was really just like a conspiracy, like pins on the board with string. Gristan is evil meme. Like, that's all it was, because he was doing us good. He was helping us out.
Right.
And
I mean, and again,
I always assume whoever's in charge is evil. That's just my go-to all the time. Like, anybody that's leading anything is evil. Like, if you are in a leadership position, you're evil in some way. Like, you're looking out for your interest above everybody else's. Like, that's just how it is.
How I play games is I pick one faction, I'm like, these are my people. And so I pick Gristan, I'm like, these are my people.
Yeah.
And then I never questioned him. Ever, until the Green Armada. I'm like, okay, these are my people.
We had no reason to until the Green Armada reached out and Kelkor.
I think that we played the Green Armada so well. I think that we played them politically like the best. Like, we had the best outcome possible with the Green Armada.
Sure, for sure.
With a lot of that arc, I think there were, like, you could have solicited more help. I think, you just didn't want to ally yourselves to a dragon too much. That's ultimately what it came down to. Like, you didn't want to be in servitude to a dragon, and I believe that. I didn't want you guys to.
We weren't sure how restrictive it would really be.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't want to get there and then it'd be like you have to do all this stuff and then we're
Yeah, we didn't want him to
and-
send us on a bunch of quests.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
Which is like part of joining a faction, but we had bigger fish to fry.
Never
Right,
wanted to
right,
join
totally.
a faction. We wanted to work with one, but we didn't want to
Right.
be swept
Yeah.
up in.
I was up for joining one.
Well,
but,
you're always up for joining any faction.
I think
but
I was up for
ultimately-
joining the consortium.
I think ultimately Urian was what
Would've lost
Urian
my
and
mind.
Eamon I put in your guys' laps as potential sides to join, but you guys were so skeptical of Urian the whole time, and I was
once
like,
we found
oh
out
my
that he
gosh.
got the shard of creation, that
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
set us off. Like this dude hid this from us, didn't tell
Yeah.
us what he was doing, almost got us killed.
Paid
in
us
this
so poorly.
winter, paid
Yeah.
us awfully.
But from
Like,
his
he's sketched, like,
perspective, I mean,
Oh, I don't blame him. I'm just
Yeah,
mad.
yeah.
Just from us, it's like we're
I
not gonna
understand
put
that, yeah.
Trust in this
Um,
dude who we view as screwing us over.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and the thing
and-
is I would have pursued Eamon more, but I didn't want to take over the game.
Then
Yeah,
you died,
I
too,
would
so
have
that
done more
sucked.
with the consortium, but I didn't want to be the guy that's like, oh yeah, I'm
We
gonna
did this
build
thing.
my criminal empire and make the
Right.
entire campaign about my character's ambitions.
right.
That's the reason that I didn't go after the consortium.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't want to like derail the whole campaign and make it into a crime boss campaign. And
Yeah.
nobody else seemed on board with it, so I was like, oh, okay.
I was not on board with
Yeah.
consortium. I'll tell you that. That
It-
was the
it-
last.
Hello? Hello? Hi.
One word. One
Hi, we're
word.
back. Yeah.
All right. Oh, the stream didn't even go all the way down.
Yeah, I'm reloading it.
Your router fall off your box again.
No, it didn't. I don't know why my internet just stopped working, but that's okay.
Huh.
It's all
What were we
good now.
talking about?
I don't remember. But
Yeah.
we can move away from that major arc stuff if you have more questions or want to talk about more stuff.
Well, what were we punting to later? We had party dynamic that we were going to talk
Yeah, we
about
did have-
later. We had
Pretty cool. We can get to a little bit that. We don't have everybody, but we can chat party dynamic a little bit.
yeah, we can talk about it a bit. We can do it again later once we've spent more time with Sea of Stars and Caster,
That's true.
because we still don't know anything about Caster other than he used to be a servant for the family that owned the vineyard.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant family.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You want to talk about dynamics?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we had some other things that we were going to talk
We can,
about.
I mean, I can also talk
are there
about
any campaign
spoilies.
questions, I guess.
Yeah, we can talk about. So, let's see. Let me look through my notes. So, I did want to talk about Vendragar and his family.
Yeah. That was something that we were going to talk about later.
So, this is no longer this is an insight, but it's no longer a spoiler because the family doesn't matter anymore. Vendragar and Zeralix, so they're brothers, they were kobolds. They
Draconic Siphon.
They used the
Business?
Draconic Siphon, both of them, to become Dragonborns because
Yeah.
Wait, who are these people? Who? Oh, the
Vendragar,
people.
the priest that Jazarez had you murder,
Got it.
and then Stain brought him back to life.
oh my gosh, why the fuck streaming? Okay, I'm just gonna start recording and stop streaming. No, maybe not. I'll keep streaming so it's all one recording. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, they used the Draconic Siphon because Vendragar met Bilaxia, who was a devout follower of the Metallic Sovereigness, Alaxialia's mother. Oh no. Hello, Ronan?
I'm here. I'm going pee.
Oh, okay. So he wanted to become more of a Dragonborn. So
If Jazarez knew that,
he
would've
would've killed
stayed
him.
Dead. He would have killed him.
yep, knew that.
He would have straight
Yeah,
up cold blood, like, doesn't matter who's watching. He
Yeah.
would have killed him.
yeah, and Exalia was basically a like memory imprint that Glimmer left on them. Like
Yes.
if you went to them, they wouldn't remember Exalia right now.
Yeah. I think,
Um,
I remember Glimmer explaining that to me.
Yeah. Let's see. I can't remember.
That's interesting, though. Yeah, they would have been dead men if Jazarez found that. Dazarez does not like that siphon. If he knew that Kit still had it, he would try to steal it and destroy it.
Oh yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why Vendergar was there in the Tomb of Mistra, because they stole it from him. They stole the siphon from him, and that's why.
Which dragon did he kill, or which dragon's blood? That's still the mystery.
I don't think I can tell you that. I don't think I can.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I think there's
that
still
is not
more to the whole
resolved
dragons.
yet. Yeah. There's
Olgiathrax is a whole like looming threat that we're not even thinking about right now.
Yeah.
I peed like 10 minutes. I felt like holy. A bladder.
Let me see. What else? Early in the campaign. Nyara
why did
no
Nyara
longer
want Julian's soul?
What's
let me
going on
see
with
if I have it
Nyara?
written
Nyara
down.
is no longer what?
If you went to her today, she would not be there.
I have a quest for her that we never did.
Yeah, it doesn't matter now. She doesn't remember you.
To get some.
Yeah, because the time travel stuff.
Yeah, she never. So the whole thing in Madeir, I can just tell you this because I don't think you guys are gonna go there this campaign.
We have no reason to.
Yeah, the whole thing with which you might have, but now you won't because of what Seriko did. Because he, I found the thing about Nyara and Julian. I'll say that in a second. But so all of the Genasi are oppressed by the Demont family. Seriko fixed that, and Nyara had come. So Squall, who was the Air Genasi member of the Vespin Arcanum, the evocation wizard, he'd gone there as like the leader of their like nomadic tribe of Genasi who are fighting against the Demont family.
Yes.
And Nyara had been like basically his go to Alira, preserve our knowledge if all goes badly. And she had asked for that book, Maderian Comings and Goings, because it held a secret passage into the Demont family castle where they could sneak in and Squall could kill the king.
Interesting.
Nice.
So you guys could have pursued that, gone with her to meet Squall. You would have had access to one or two of the Confuria Fane that he has, and saved the Genasi. So that's a whole arc that could have happened as opposed to Fencian Isles.
I think if I wanted to play Seriko for the whole campaign, I wouldn't have done the time travel stuff, and I would have done the conventional like revolution, kill the king, retake Madeir kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that would have fit right into that.
Yeah. So Nyara was supposed to marry Julian, and Julian ran. So it was just spite. It was a lover's quarrel. Yeah. And so he ran, and she wanted him dead because she's spicy, man.
What was the puzzle we missed in the temple?
The drowned tomb?
The horse?
Yeah, so there was a horse door, and there were 4 horse skeletons that all were bridled and like shackled. And if you released each one of the bridles, they were like ornate and didn't fit with the skeletons. If you released them, then it opened the door. And
I don't
one
think
of
we
them,
ever figured that out.
right? It was obscure, and there was only I think you've actually gotten the stuff that was in there from other stuff, so it doesn't really matter. But one of them was behind the water door, so you would have had to swim around the outside to get to it.
Oh, yeah, we would have never figured that out.
Oh, never.
Who was calling you at 3 a.m., Ronan?
Mother.
Oh,
Works
nice.
nights. She's
Oh,
like,
that's
why are
right.
you awake still? I'm like,
Sorry,
26, leave me alone. Let me have a
Axalia was... Oh, Glimmer was also another form. I don't know if I ever told you this, but in the Festival of Brilliant Dawn, there was a shopkeeper with blonde hair tinged with green, and she was selling dragon curiosities, and I was like...
That was who I had to talk to about reassembling the souls?
I don't know. I think it was just a random vendor.
Oh, just a random.
Oh, the Silver Dragonborn in Oxton. That's right.
Who I'm convinced is actually a silver dragon, but
Can't tell you. That's like when you got me with that when Cricket was talking to the fucking dragon about how he wants to kill it.
I was just gonna say, didn't that happen in this campaign?
That
But
happened
no,
to Cricket.
That was Kingmaker.
Cricket. They went to the Dragonborn's house
Dragonborn about
talk
killing
about
all the dragons or whatever, and then we got
to the cavalcade, and the dragon was pissed off at Cricket.
oh, I think I vaguely remember what you're talking about. I don't know why you talked to her about dragons.
We
though.
wanted to learn about what's her name? The big one. Teramia, yeah. We wanted to learn about
okay.
Oh, because we saw the eye. This was before we found Teramia, so we saw the talent found the orb and got spoken to by a dragon, which we didn't know, so we wanted to talk to a dragon expert.
Yeah, okay, I remember.
And I was like,
forgot that
we
I
have
did
to kill a
the
dragon.
orb with you.
How do we do this?
current campaign. Anybody watching?
Yeah. Anyway,
makes
sorry.
sense to you,
That was
Past game. Yeah, they're not related to what we're talking about.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I'd planned a lot for Jazzle Raz.
I figured.
And
I
some
know
of it,
that
a lot of it's
nobody
still in
saw
the
him dying
campaign.
coming.
Yeah. I mean,
I was really struggling with him though. Like
Yeah,
from a
I could see
mechanics
that.
standpoint, I was really struggling because he was so weak. And I
was
do
so bad.
not like playing mechanically weak characters.
Yeah, and
I'm a
you fixed
min-maxer
it.
at heart, and
Yes.
man, Jazzleraz
And
was,
you made Sea of
was
Stars.
rough for me to play. Oh, I min-maxed my heart out with Sea of Stars. Like I'm actually really proud of like the cycle that he can do. With
Yeah, that's so good. His Sea of Stars is so good. I'm excited to see like the retrievers. That was interesting. You thought that didn't even occur to me that could be from Rose. It didn't even occur to me.
I thought they were after Naudry.
That was
Immediately,
cool.
as soon as these things popped up, and you're like, they come to retrieve things and take them away. I'm like, oh, well, this is coming for Naudry, because I'm always wondering. That's why I brought Naudry with us. Is because I'm always we didn't fulfill our contract to him. You know, that's still a thing
and
that's
it's
probably gonna.
established that Rose uses automatons with Clancy.
Right. That was okay. So that was something that I forgot to do in the time skip. Was have Naudry and Honk go back to Thorns of a Rose. Because that was planned.
I didn't even think of that. Right. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
is that something that Naudry would have suggested?
Naudry would have, yeah, because Naudry, even when you were in the Isle of Mist, he was like, we can go back or we can just run away, but I can tell Rose it was okay. And
we can do that on the way back from whatever we're doing in Durain.
Yeah, I think ultimately, yeah.
Or we can retcon it.
So I won't. It's up to you guys, really. I think Naudry would have done it. He wouldn't have just been 100 miles away from them sitting still. So
like a 2-day journey from them.
Yeah. I'll say. I mean, granted, it's probably weak, but still, it's like I'll say it now, and I'm gonna make a note so that I say it next session because let me just type it real quick.
So we don't have to worry about Rose anymore. That's good.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about him. Rose is a good guy. And no matter how much doubt Ronan has...
Good guy. As much as a Yakuza can be a good guy.
Right. I'm still gonna...
A contract killer.
Yeah. So, I mean, he is not going to hurt you guys.
Okay.
That makes our jobs a little bit simpler, now that we can leave Naudry places.
Naudry can stay. This is why I don't multi-class. This hurts my brain. Just too much.
Use the whip in your offhand, make one attack with it to get a sneak attack, and then use your spear for the rest of it.
I know 100% when I'm playing next campaign, and I'm very excited. I've been working this character for like 2+ years.
Oh man,
I don't do that.
I had this idea, and I'm like, I need to use this in a campaign.
Sea of Stars was like a huge ripoff, actually. Like, the mashup of two characters, like, straight up. Like, shamelessly ripped off.
It's true, and I love it.
Incredible.
Fuck.
That's how I make all my characters. I just rip off other characters and combine them.
Fuck. Anything else?
Anything that
Any questions?
you had that we missed that you're like, whoa, I can't believe they missed that?
Oh, Ellis Axelby. I forgot to talk about Ellis Axelby.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. Session 4, probably, I planned an NPC. So I saw an issue with Jazzelraz coming up where maybe it was like session 5. It was after. It was session 4 or 5. It was after he was having issues with Vendragar, and everyone he met was turning him down religiously, except for Exalia.
Was she gonna be a cultist?
Yeah. So she was a student at the Institute of High Magic of Fisk, and she got kicked out because she could only do divine magic because she couldn't do arcane for shit. So she was in the Festival of Brilliant Dawn, and was going to meet you guys, but it didn't end up working out. And she was going to come in the Isles then and meet Jazzelraz, but then Jazzelraz died. So she was going to be his first opportunity for someone relatively innocent and impressionable, but who could also like run things and spread word and be like vocal enough.
Because he was trying to do it with Alaxalia, but she was like really young. So
with Exalia, yeah.
I guess I didn't know that was her full name.
Yeah, and so that was her, and it's been like eating away at me for 2 years. I was like, I gotta just put her in a fucking session already.
Can you imagine how different the game would have gone if he had met her in White
Jazzelraz
Anvil?
would have had like hope.
Well, and he wouldn't have like thrown his life away.
That's true, yeah.
He wouldn't have dove into that wolf's mouth. He would have.
Yeah. Then again, that was during his time of doubt, though, was in Oxton, and maybe that's why I held off on her, because he was seriously doubting Glimmer at the time.
Oh, he would have turned her away. He would have been like, she's not worth worshiping.
Yeah. So that was an option, and I saw that as something for him, and I have items lined up that are still in the world, but you guys probably won't find them.
Man, that would have been hilarious. That's what I was wanting with him. I really wanted to build a cult.
Yeah, I felt that, and I wanted to give you something so you didn't feel like you kept trying to no avail. Like, I wanted you to know that I wasn't just turning you down for no reason.
No, everybody I tried was like way too reasonable to be a cultist.
Right. Yeah, none of them would have joined.
Another thing you guys missed. Well, you didn't really miss it. Ronan, I know that you saw, so the Merowettes were in Ironhold, the Hattie, Droke, and Morven, and I know you saw them and recognized them, and you didn't do anything with them, which was fine. She was the one singing the song about the Willow Maid, Austin. And so these were NPCs from our first game, and they had information about. Holy shit! I didn't even remember this. I'm just gonna read this verbatim because these are 2-year-old notes. They need some Oh, so they were a way of you guys getting information about stuff happening elsewhere in the world. So King Demont of Madeira is hosting a banquet of special magnificence to celebrate the return of his son, who Ronan is Vert. Was Vert from our old campaign.
No way.
I think did I ever tell you about that? About how he was secretly. Yeah, I did.
I think so.
Demont.
So I had my DMPC was secretly.
Scum.
But he didn't. He was kicked out for reasons. Also, strange creatures have been attacking Dragar and Dorain. Never been seen before.
I think we heard about that.
Which is a tie. Actually, you heard about that in a couple places, and you even heard about. Oh man, no, I can't talk about this. That's a potential spoiler for down the road. Anyway, the Merowettes knew that Lady Risa hasn't been seen in a decade. They know about a theft of an airship, so hint that the Bloody Orphans were going to come. Yep. Rumors about the festival, so I had stuff that I was going to improvise. A crown was discovered in Dulcin recently. That was the original Mantle of Bones. That was my original placement of it. So they could have accompanied you. That was just an option. So just some NPCs for you guys to meet.
I actually really liked being like a bystander to an apocalyptic event like that, and us like trying to save as many people as possible while still not die. I think that was a really cool scene.
I thought that was interesting. Thank you for with us being like,
there's nothing we knew that there was nothing we could do about it, and all we could do was like try to survive and save people.
Yeah.
That was really fun to like figure out how to save the most people as possible.
Yeah. I brought myself back in planning that. I knew that I wanted some kind of spectacle, and I wanted Honk especially. It kind of like shows how I kind of plan things, like how I go about character planning, because I wanted Honk to know that he's not safe despite being so far away. Like I wanted his arc to be ongoing, and that's part of my kind of like thing is I want everyone to have, I mean, ongoing stuff in the arc, even though some of it's more important than others. But like, and that was a big spectacle too. That was like, the Bloody Orphans aren't just around, they're making plays, and it's that ties into the Fencing Isles, because they were like, they wanted to distract from the Isles. They wanted to say like, oh, it's not us, like whatever, or and distract take Vespin Arcana members out, because if Lady Risa was around, like, she's the best one, she is the most kind-hearted, so she would lead the charge, and she works for Novira and Iberion, so she would be on those boats, but she was in a coma, so she couldn't. Like, she was going to lead the charge, and she couldn't. So, that was part of that. And
for a
Sparky,
brief moment, I thought that it was a false flag orchestrated by the Vespin Arcanum.
Thought so too, 100%. That's where I was at.
Yeah.
That they set this whole thing up, and
I'm kind of glad that it wasn't, though, because that makes it so much easier to think about. Because if they had orchestrated that, I would have been like, oh my god, this has so many implications for everything.
I think you guys, it's safe, it might be a spoiler, but I can't help myself from saying it. This session, I finally revealed where I got Fragments from. It was the Vespin Arcanum. And it became Glimmer for the longest time, but truly this campaign is the Fragments of the Vespin Arcanum. So yeah.
Yeah, we don't care about those people. We're the new Vespin Arcanum, even though only like one of us
don't care about
magic.
Yeah, and you don't care about it.
Yeah. Arcanum.
like I used to be able to do magic, now I can't. Hunk really doesn't have magic. Kid just like makes stuff, and then a cast. Yeah. No, Caster doesn't do magic either.
He can. He's an Echo Knight. Well, no, I guess that's not. Well, it's kind of magic.
It's not really magic. I mean, I have Ghost Slayer stuff, which is kind of magic.
True.
I can Thunderstep. That doesn't mean I can lead the Vespin Arcanum.
Like we have like third level spell access. Yeah. Zuskell's the only one with magical ability.
Yeah. The roses were. I know I told you this before, but the roses were. It was Nadra using Animal Messenger to send you a rose.
Like, I didn't know he was using. I wondered how he did it. I knew it was him, but I didn't know how.
Yeah, I didn't know Animal Messenger either.
Yeah, so I think like my planning process was weird for that, because I thought about. I watched like Spider-Man 1, and I really liked. Oh no, I found the picture of Rose online. I was just looking at Tiefling art, and then I like in my head Willem Dafoe's voice fit perfectly for him, so I was like, okay, well now I have to make this. He does
give off Green Goblin vibes.
Yeah, totally. And oh, did I ever tell you Rose's story? No, I didn't. Fuck.
We might meet him again.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially like later on when we're gathering allies.
Right,
like, because that happens at the end of every game.
Oh fuck! Actually, Serico's stuff changed a lot of his. Oh shit.
Is he related to Midir?
Oh my gosh, he's crazy related to what happened to Sekiro. Serico. Okay, that's crazy. I'll tell you about it in the session, because this is worth everyone being there for. But so I
just really screwed it all up.
You did. So the old plan for him, and now I can tell you this, he was an advisor. Oh fuck. He was an advisor to Iberion.
Well, no wonder this screwed things up.
When Novira hit. So his old name was something like, and I don't know, he was some high-ranking dude. And Novira hit, so Serico and Sly came in and like killed someone like the mage right in front of him. And in the blast, like his horn got blown off, and he was like, I gotta get out of here. So he went and basically made his own organization to stop bad shit from happening. But now all of that's gone because of what you did. So I didn't even think about that, but I gotta write that down.
Well, he has no motivation to do that now because that
He's
person
still...
never died.
Yeah, I gotta work on that. Okay, that's a whole thing. So anyway, what else happened? What other open things? Man, I don't know. Fuck.
I can't think of any loose ends so
I
far.
can't
Neither.
right now.
Other than what is going on with Jazzlerez's tribe, but I'm sure we'll find out.
I have been keeping notes of what's happening each session with that stuff.
Because they are directly affiliated with Ulkiathrax. Like,
Yeah.
they directly worship him.
Yeah. Oh, Honk's mom, I'd planned for a while for her to come back in some capacity. And ever since Sea of Stars showed up, ever since Austin made Sea of Stars with the Undead Prince, I knew that she was going to be like his handmaiden. Pretty fucked and just unrelated. Like, he just found this corpse and like, hey, here we go.
Right.
Yeah. And Honk... Yeah, a couple times in sessions, I randomly had people talk about how his village had a new chief, or like someone was vying for it.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And I was like, I wonder if he's gonna catch on, or if he's gonna do anything about it. And I think both because Honk doesn't want to, and because you were focused on other things, and because you didn't want to, like, you're just like, whatever.
There. It's on my mind. I've heard it. I know what's happening there, but right now we don't have a reason to go there, so I'm not.
Yeah.
Let's go to Dolson for my backstory.
Right,
We'll
and
see
that's
what happens with it,
ultimately that's why I resolved it, kind of. Like, it's still there and you can do it, and there's still story to be had there. But I had, like, it wasn't set that she was gonna take over and kill Honk's dad quite yet. But until, like, I didn't know what Honk was gonna do, and then after he had that moment with his mom, after I came up with that scene and decided they were gonna have that kind of realization that, you know, that... So, okay, actually, this is some me planning Honk stuff. Him fighting his sister, who is more orc than... and he is more human, that was my idea originally for his arc to be the, you know, going against the orc and the human, right? Because I think his heart is more human because of his mom, and he sees himself as his dad in the mirror, which is hard for him. So fighting against his sister, who was raised under the same circumstances but to different ends, like, that would have been big. But that was before Sea of Stars, so that was when I thought you would have to go there for the Mantle of Bones. Anyway, after...
Man, I really do screw things up, don't I?
After...
Well, we can always go back if it works its way there. We might go
you
back.
can do whatever you want, and it'll a new story will be told. But after Honk had that with his mom, I was like, I don't want to give him the same story points, you know, through his sister when it's someone I'm fabricating. Like, I think it would have hit if his mom wouldn't have come. Like, same how it hit Zuskell about her sister. Like, holy shit, I didn't know I had a sister. But now that Honk knows that, like, it's interesting seeing not necessarily apathy towards it, but just how it doesn't matter.
I guess.
Yeah, just acceptance, right? Like, it's not his responsibility to feel responsible for that tribe anymore, because, you know, he's more than that, kind of.
Think
is that fair?
It might develop depending on if we hear anything about more what's going on there.
Yeah.
If it turns out like this lady is like realizing everybody and she's like went on a rampage or whatever, that might spur him to action more. But right now, I think there's bigger goals that he's not really too keen on going back there right now.
Totally. Interesting.
Really, like, he would have wanted to kill his dad anyway, so she's doing him a favor. Like, she's like, she might be better than he thought.
Right.
Or, I mean, she could be coming at it from, he's too weak, I'm better than him, let me kill him and take over. And he could end up murking everybody, so we'll have to see.
Don't know. Also, I just remembered, there are a couple of Espen Arcana members that I want you guys to meet. Fuck. But I don't know where they are yet.
We'll kill them.
Yeah, probably.
We have to kill all the Vespin Arcanum before we can make the new one.
With just
Wow.
Zuskell.
A purge.
Purge the
Wraith-
Vespin.
Pratha? No, I can't talk about that. That's still kind
Wraitha's
of open.
dead as far as we know.
Pratha's dead as far as you know. That's all I can say.
Somebody else probably took her power though.
I will say, so there was a whole thing, I mentioned it a couple times, but the Night of Grim Harvest happened in fall.
Yes.
And that's a holiday that basically Pratha was an archfey of an autumn court, and the autumn courts were basically wiped out by the winter and summer courts. So they had like a whole area, and I think like the Hildren Vale was part of the autumn court region. So she coming back and finding the lantern and like her source of power was part of that, and she was going to use that, but she died and you don't know why yet. Anyway,
Probably something related to Kelkor or something like that.
Probably.
We'll see.
yeah. Fuck. Anything else?
We can talk about party dynamics if we want to, or whatever.
Nah.
I don't have anything else.
I don't
to,
have any campaign questions.
Yeah, I don't have any other campaign questions. I do like that we finally have like somewhere that we can operate out of, like somewhere we can always go
Yeah.
back to.
Yeah.
Where we're like, when we're done with everything, like when we're done with a big thing, we can be like, all right, let's go home.
Yeah.
Like that was hard with the Fencing Isles. We're like, we
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have anywhere to we got the Wayward Soul. So that was
Yeah.
nice when we got the Wayward Soul. We're like, okay, let's go to the Wayward, like let's go
Right.
home.
Mm.
It's
But
nice
still,
to have somewhere
even-
where we're like, let's go home.
Yeah.
And then we go to the
Especially now though, now that teleportation is unlocked, like that really
Mhm.
makes the vineyard cool, I think. And how it's autonomous and you guys have the funds for it. I think that's awesome. I'm all about it.
Yeah, it does support itself. All
Yeah.
of the wages are paid for.
Mhm.
That's something that I've run into with other games in the past where we had to remember to keep going back and paying our people. It was
Yeah.
just so annoying.
Mhm.
I'm glad that our vineyard is self-sustaining.
Self-sustaining.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool.
we set it up that way on purpose.
You set it up that way.
Well,
no,
I said it. I didn't want to take all the credit.
no, it was all you. None of us had any real drive. to-
Yeah, well, that's why, like, just
up.
give me, like, just give me our
let 'em do
home
it.
base, and then I'll make it sing.
That's
Yeah.
why we're like.
I don't even have to
Austin,
do
go
it in
ahead.
session. I'll do it out of session. I'll set us up.
It'll be interesting to see how the characters progress. I think, yeah, Sea of Stars and Cloud, that their stuff will be interesting.
I'm definitely going into like a political intrigue like guy for him. Like he
Yeah.
wanted it in the criminal underworld, but it was too dangerous for him. So now I think the direction I'm going with him is royal courts.
Royal, yeah.
He's
And I
gonna
can
once
see
he
that, yeah.
fixes himself up, he's gonna really get involved with Oxton politics. Cloud's
Yeah.
gonna be like a spy master or whatever, and he's just gonna
Mhm.
like gun for some sort of office.
Yeah, and they have like a
That's
wealthy
what
estate
that's
outside
what I
the city.
think's- yeah, and that's why he's been trying to like get support with like the locals and everything
Right.
to really get his bid for higher office. I
Yeah,
think that's the direction I'm going with him.
the biggest
Whoa,
wild.
I have to take my dog out, so I'm going to dip.
All right. I'll
See you
dip as
later.
well.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you're watching Fragments, yay!